Chapter 1. The Mythical Beginning. The scorching sensation felt like countless fine needles pricking his skin, accompanied by the pungent smell of burnt asphalt, jolting Wu Dai awake from his stupor. Wu Di snapped his eyes open. The blinding light made him instinctively squint. As his pupils contracted, he barely managed to make out the scene before him. Beneath him was a scorching black asphalt road, its surface covered in fine cracks, as if ravaged repeatedly by time and high temperatures. Touching it with his fingertips, he could clearly feel the searing pain. He roughly estimated the outdoor temperature to be at least 40 degrees Celsius, a world away from the constant temperature air-conditioned office he had been in before his transmigration. Wu Di struggled to sit up, his head still a bit groggy. His last memory was of returning home late after work, curling up on the sofa to browse web novel short videos. Just as his finger swiped past a highway survival video, his vision suddenly went black, and when he woke up, he was here. Propping himself up on the scorching asphalt, Wu Di barely managed to stand. His legs felt heavy as lead. His weak physique from years of sitting in an office was magnified infinitely under the 40-degree heat, exposed in all its fragility. A simple act of standing up exhausted most of his strength. Fine beads of sweat instantly seeped from his forehead, becoming hot from the intense heat as soon as they appeared, sliding down his cheeks. His breathing became rapid and parched, his chest heaving slightly. Even the air he inhaled carried a searing sting. He forced himself to steady his stance, his gaze slowly scanning the surroundings. When he saw the deathly silent and treacherous scene before him, his heart sank abruptly, and a chill raced up his spine to the top of his head, momentarily suppressing the external heat. The asphalt road beneath his feet was wide and flat, a standard 3-lane design. There were no traffic signs or obstacles on either side, and it stretched as far as the eye could see, like a black dragon extending straight toward the horizon. Beyond the road, on both the left and right, was an endless expanse of yellow sand. The hot wind blew up fine grains of sand that drifted away. In the distance, the yellow sand met the sky, forming a blurred horizon. No vegetation, no buildings, and certainly no traces of human activity could be seen. It was terrifyingly silent, with only the whistling wail of the wind passing by. What made Wu Di's heart tighten even more was that the scene at one end of the road was completely different from the other. Looking in one direction, there was the infinitely extending black asphalt road, but in the opposite direction there was a thick, impenetrable black mist. The mist seemed alive, rolling and surging at the edge of the road. Nothing inside could be seen, only evoking a mysterious sense of dread, as if something lethal was hidden behind that black mist. "Where is this? Did I transmigrate?" Wu Di murmured. The composure of a 30-year-old office worker allowed him to forcibly suppress the panic in his heart and start calming himself down. He raised a hand to wipe the sweat from his forehead, and his gaze inadvertently swept over to his side. A dilapidated, unbranded van sat there quietly, its body covered in dust and scratches, the paint severely peeling, and the glass windows somewhat cloudy. It looked worn out, as if it could break down at any moment. Just then, a slight cool sensation came from his left wrist, breaking the surrounding silence. Wu Dai looked down and saw that at some point, a silver-white wristband had appeared on his left wrist. The wristband was light and weightless, with a smooth surface and no buttons, exhibiting a fine metallic texture. It emitted a faint blue light under the sun, appearing as if it were natively bound to his wrist. No matter how he shook his arm, it remained motionless, clearly non-removable. Ding! A crisp, calm, and emotionless notification sound suddenly rang in Wu Di's mind. Simultaneously, the blue light on the silver-white wristband grew brighter, and a semi-transparent light screen appeared out of thin air before his eyes. The screen was filled with clear text, the font simple and orderly, easy to understand at a glance. The global highway contest has begun. All participants have completed the forced teleportation. Contest rules. Survival is the priority. Death is final with no resurrection mechanism. The final objective is currently locked. Participation scope: all humans on Blue Star aged 16 to 50. Mandatory participation for all, with no exemptions. Humans under 16 or over 50 will not participate and are in a safe standby state. Novice period tip: the first 24 hours are the novice period. During this time, participants will be in complete individual isolation and will not encounter any other participants. After the novice period ends, other participants will be randomly refreshed, starting the free survival contest. Core warning: it is forbidden to approach the black mist areas, at the edge of the road, or to leave the asphalt road to enter the yellow sand areas. Violators will face unknown dangers. Everything you need is along the way. Survivors, set out as soon as possible before nightfall. A series of system prompts appeared clearly on the light screen. Woody read them word for word, and his heart couldn't help but sink. A global highway contest, mandatory participation, death being final, plus the unknown black mist and yellow sand areas. Every piece of information told him that this was no joke, but a life-and-death survival game. Woody took a deep breath and forced himself to calm down. Years of life as an office worker had taught him the habit of not panicking and clearing his thoughts first. Since the fact of transmigration could not be changed, he had to find a way to survive. His gaze fell on the light screen in front of him. He simply pulled open the car door and climbed into the dilapidated van, then began to explore the functions of the wristband. At the top of the light screen, 5 options were clearly displayed: announcements, communication, personal, storage, and crafting. With a thought, he switched to the communication option. 2 channels instantly appeared on the light screen: the World Channel and the Regional Channel. The World Channel showed only 1 post allowed per day, while the Regional Channel allowed 3 posts per day, which already had quite a few scattered posts. Clearly, those in the Regional Channel were participants in the same area as him. Holy crap, where is this? Wasn't I sleeping at home? How did I suddenly end up here? Global highway contest? Mandatory participation? Death is final? Don't mess with me? I want to go home. Does anyone know what this black mist is? I got a little closer just now and felt freezing cold. It's too terrifying. Damn it. There's a crappy van next to me. It says it's the starting vehicle. Does anyone know if this thing can even drive? Are there any big shots who know how to survive? I'm dying of thirst. In this 40-plus degree heat, if I don't get water soon, I'm going to get heat stroke. Stop arguing. Everyone calm down. What's the use of arguing now? Hurry up and check the wristband functions. Think about how to survive. The novice period is only 24 hours. We'll encounter others after 24 hours. There were more and more posts in the Regional Channel, mostly cries of panic and helplessness, though a few people remained somewhat calm, reminding everyone to check the wristband functions and look for survival supplies. Woody quickly browsed through these posts and got a general idea. There were many people like him who had transmigrated. Most were in a state of panic, and only a few could remain calm. Currently, everyone was facing the dilemma of high temperatures and lack of water, and some didn't even know the purpose of the starting vehicle. Woody didn't post anything. He just silently closed the communication channel. Now was not the time to waste on complaining or panicking. He needed to understand his situation as quickly as possible and find the means to survive. With a thought, he switched to the personal option, and his personal information instantly appeared on the light screen. Name: Woody. Physique: Spirit, 13. Talent: not drawn. Vehicle: Level 1 dilapidated van. Storage: initial 10 slots, empty. At the bottom of the light screen, there was a prominent Draw Initial Talent button, flashing with a faint blue light. Ding tip: all participants can draw 1 initial talent for free at the start. The drawing range for the initial talent is from Common to Silver grade. The notification sound rang in his mind again. Woody didn't hesitate and lightly tapped the Draw Initial Talent button with his fingertip. Instantly, a dazzling blue light flared on the light screen, converging into a circular wheel. 4 levels of talent markers were evenly distributed on the wheel: Common, Bronze, Black Iron, and Silver. The number of markers for each level varied. Common was the most numerous, while Silver grade was the fewest. Clearly, the probability of drawing a silver grade talent was the lowest. The wheel began to spin rapidly, faster and faster, with the blue light flashing so that the specific markers couldn't be seen. Wu Di's heart couldn't help but speed up. He had read many web novels, and naturally knew the importance of a talent in a survival game. A powerful talent would be enough to give him an advantage in this brutal contest. He silently prayed in his heart, hoping to draw a practical talent, preferably a silver grade one. A few seconds later, the wheel's rotation gradually slowed down, and the blue light dimmed accordingly. Finally, the wheel came to a slow stop, the pointer steadily landing on the silver grade marker. Ding! Congratulations to participant Wu Di for drawing a silver grade talent. Promotion. Talent name, promotion, silver grade. Talent effect. 1. Can unconditionally promote any item by 1 rank. 100% probability. 2. Can promote any item by 2 ranks. 20% probability. 3. Can promote any item by 3 ranks. 0.01% probability. Talent cooldown 7 days. The moment he saw the talent effect, Wu Di's eyes instantly lit up, and his heart skipped a few beats. His years of experience reading web novels and playing games told him this was definitely a good, practical talent, silver grade quality, and it could unconditionally promote any item by 1 rank. Even with only a 20% chance to promote by 2 ranks, in this life-and-death struggle, just using it to enhance supplies and equipment would be enough to give him an edge. However, this joy didn't last 2 seconds before his brows furrowed slightly, a hint of concern rising in his heart. This highway contest was unpredictable. The novice period was only 24 hours, and there were unknown disasters and other participants to follow. Forget a 7-day cooldown. He wasn't even sure if he could survive today. No matter how good the talent was, if it couldn't be used in time, it was just empty talk. Wu Di instinctively looked back at the talent description on the light screen, his gaze fixed intensely on the words, any item. A bold thought suddenly popped into his head. Any item? Then, did the talent itself count as an item? Could he use this promotion talent to promote the talent itself? If it were feasible, not only could he solve the problem of the long cooldown, but he might even break the silver grade limit and promote it to a higher level. As soon as this thought appeared, it was like a hidden Easter egg in a web novel, causing Wu Di to instantly suppress the concern in his heart, leaving only uncontrollable excitement. The more he thought about it, the more excited and nervous Wu Di became. He didn't know if this idea was feasible. After all, the talent was bound to himself, unlike ordinary items. If it failed, would it affect his existing talent? Would it even cause harm to his body? After hesitating for a moment, he opened the regional channel again for a quick look. It was still filled with panic and helplessness. Someone had drawn a trash common-grade talent and was wailing incessantly. Someone had drawn a bronze-grade talent and was barely remaining calm. Someone else had drawn a black iron-grade talent and was cautiously exploring its effects. But no one mentioned being able to promote a talent. "I'll risk it." Wu Di gritted his teeth and made a decision. Taking a deep breath, he forced himself to calm down and concentrate. With a thought, he targeted the effect of the promotion talent onto the talent itself. Ding tip. Detected participant Wu Di using a talent effect on his own talent. Promotion, silver grade. Talents are considered special items and can be promoted. Do you confirm use? The notification sound rang in his mind again. Wu Di was overjoyed. It really was feasible. Without any hesitation, he immediately thought, confirm use. Instantly, the blue light from the wristband on his left wrist surged, wrapping his entire body in a dazzling blue glow. The talent description on the light screen also began to change. The silver-grade talent marker gradually emitted a golden light, which grew stronger and stronger until it covered the entire screen. Simultaneously, the talent's effects and cooldown were rapidly refreshing. Ding! Congratulations to participant Wu Di. The talent, promotion, silver grade, has been successfully promoted. Promoted 3 ranks to the mythical grade talent, rule breakthrough. Amidst the surging blue light, the talent information on the light screen rapidly restructured. The silver grade marker completely dissipated, replaced by a brilliant golden halo. As the system notification finished, the original information of the promotion talent was overwritten, and the details of the new mythical grade talent, Rule Breakthrough, were clearly presented on the light screen. The blue light gradually faded, and the light screen became clear again, displaying the information of his newly promoted mythical grade talent. Every word filled Wu Dai with immense excitement and shock. Talent name: Rule Breakthrough, Mythical Grade. Talent Effect 1 can be used on a single item category. 100% chance to increase grade by 1 rank. 30% chance to increase by 2 ranks. 5% chance to increase by 3 ranks. Daily uses: 5 times. Maximum promotion grade cannot exceed mythical grade. Talent Effect 2 can designate a single item to directly break through 3 ranks. Cooldown: 72 hours. Maximum promotion grade cannot exceed mythical grade. Talent Note: Mythical grade talent, unique characteristic, can only be used to promote single item categories, limited to supplies, equipment, and blueprints. A mythical grade talent: Rule Breakthrough. Wu Di stared intently at the talent information on the light screen, his heart pounding wildly, his whole body trembling slightly with excitement. Compared to the original silver grade promotion talent, the mythical grade Rule Breakthrough was like night and day. 5 uses per day, 100% promotion by 1 rank, 30% by 2 ranks, 5% by 3 ranks, plus a 72-hour cooldown effect that directly broke through 3 ranks. Wu Di closed the regional channel, his excitement gradually subsiding, replaced by calmness and determination. He still had many urgent problems to solve: mild dehydration, insufficient stamina, no water or food, and the initial fuel shown on the fuel gauge was only 5 liters. The novice period was only 24 hours, and after that, he would not only encounter other participants but also face the first disaster. He looked down at the wristband on his left wrist. The mythical grade talent on the light screen still flashed with a faint blue light, as if reminding him that he already possessed the capital to defy the heavens. He looked at the simple dashboard inside the car again, then gazed through the window at the infinitely extending asphalt road, a flash of determination in his eyes. Wu Di gripped the steering wheel inside the car and pressed the ignition button. With a vroom, the van emitted a dull roar and started smoothly. The needles on the dashboard flickered slightly, remaining fuel 5 liters, mileage 0. It's even an automatic. This ignition button is ridiculous. For such a beat-up car to be designed so high-tech is quite something. Chapter 2, Unboxing and Exploration. Wu Di checked the time on his wristband. It displayed 12:20. This was the first time he had truly started this van since waking up, and it was his only means of transport in this strange survival game, as well as his temporary shelter. Outside the van there was still endless yellow sand. The dunes on both sides rolled on, baked by the scorching sun to a dull, earthy yellow. The straight 3-lane highway was pitch black and smooth, yet there were no traces of any vehicles or pedestrians, not even road signs. Only the monotonous black road stretched to the horizon, shrouded by distorted air, appearing blurry and distant. Wu Di did not rush to slam on the accelerator. He gently turned the throttle, and the van moved forward slowly at a steady pace. He clearly remembered that the level 1 van marked on his wristband had a top speed of no more than 60 kilometers per hour. Moreover, the body was dilapidated, and the brakes and steering were somewhat sluggish. On this road where the end was invisible and the dangers ahead unknown, excessive speed was meaningless and would instead waste scarce fuel, or even make it impossible to react in time to emergencies. The vehicle moved forward slowly. The hum of the engine, the sound of the wind outside the windows, and his own steady breathing intertwined, becoming the only sounds in this dead world. Wu Di held the steering wheel firmly with one hand, his gaze vigilantly scanning the sides of the windows, the rearview mirror, and the road ahead, not daring to relax for a moment. His other hand rested on his knee, his fingertips occasionally tapping lightly on the wristband's light screen, switching back and forth between the personal interface, the communication channel, and the storage interface, trying to find more clues for survival from the limited information. The first problem of survival weighed on his heart like a giant rock, clear and urgent. Where would supplies come from? Water, food, fuel, vehicle repair tools, and even weapons for self-defense. These were indispensable things for survival. In this strange world full of unknowns, these things could not possibly appear out of thin air. Based on his experience reading countless survival web novels, in this kind of global, competition-style survival game, supplies must refresh in some fixed form. They could be a supply crate on the side of the road, an abandoned vehicle, or a supply point hidden in the dunes. But until now he had driven nearly 1 kilometer and still hadn't encountered any abnormalities. Must look carefully. Cannot let any different thing pass by. Wu Di silently reminded himself in his heart, his gaze becoming sharper. He knew that in this life-or-death survival game, any carelessness could lead to fatal consequences, especially in the early stages when supplies were extremely scarce. Finding the first batch of supplies meant having one more hope of staying alive. The second problem that he pondered repeatedly was the talent level. He opened the regional channel again. The messages on the light screen scrolled rapidly, without any order. The vast majority of messages were people's panic, calls for help, and bewildered questions. It was clear that everyone had not yet recovered from the sudden change, and their hearts were wrapped in fear. Is there anyone here? Help! What kind of hellish place is this? I was sleeping at home just now. How did I suddenly end up on this broken road? Where is my mom? Has anyone seen my mom? We woke up together. She just got out of the car to find water, and now she's gone. Who can tell me how to leave this place? I don't want to stay here. I want to go home. Is there anyone who knows what's going on? Come out and say something. My car is broken. It stalled as soon as I started it. Does anyone know how to fix cars? Please help. I'm willing to trade the only bread I have. I'm dying of thirst. Does anyone have water? I'm almost dehydrated. Who can lend me a sip of water? I will definitely repay you in the future. Did you guys receive the wristband prompt? My wristband says I have a talent, but I don't understand it. It's common grade. What is it actually for? Among the chaotic messages, a few scattered discussions about talents appeared, which seemed particularly conspicuous, and made the vague level framework in Wu Di's mind clearer. I drew a common talent called minor self-healing. It doesn't seem useful. I accidentally cut my hand just now, and it still bled for a while, and the healing speed wasn't much faster. I'm a bronze talent. Physique boost. The wristband shows my physique has a significant increase. I'm much stronger than before and not as easily tired. Finally, I have some sense of security. So envious. I'm a black iron talent, water source perception. It can give a prompt if there is water within a 50-meter radius. I tried it just now, and it's completely useless. After a few messages scrolled by, Wu Di silently closed the communication channel, his fingertips tapping lightly on the steering wheel, lost in thought. Common, bronze, black iron, silver. This was the current upper limit of talent levels that everyone could draw. And judging from everyone's descriptions, bronze and above talents mostly came with specific attribute bonuses or practical special functions, while common talents were mostly better than nothing. But his own talent had been promoted directly from silver to mythical, skipping 2 whole unknown tiers in between. What level was actually after silver? Was it gold? Dark gold? Or legendary? No one knew, and no one mentioned it in the channel. And above mythical, was there an even higher level? Was a mythical talent really the ceiling of this world? These questions had no answers for the time being. The third problem he pondered repeatedly was the vehicle. In the wristband's personal interface, the information about the vehicle was clear. Level 1 dilapidated van, top speed 60 kilometers per hour, current fuel 5 liters. A level 1 was enough to explain everything. This vehicle, like the talent, was not fixed. It could be upgraded, could become more powerful, faster, have longer range, and might even unlock special functions. It's just that he had no idea what the conditions for promotion were. Did it need specific vehicle blueprints? Or rare upgrade materials? He had once flashed the thought of forcibly upgrading it with his mythical talent. Rule breakthrough. But he abandoned it instantly. The wristband had long clearly prompted that talents only took effect on supplies, equipment, and blueprints, and absolutely could not be applied to vehicles. The van traveled steadily on the empty road. Woody occasionally raised his hand to wipe the sweat from his forehead, his gaze still vigilantly observing his surroundings. Time passed bit by bit, and the odometer on the dashboard ticked slowly, from 0 to 5, then to 10. He didn't look at the time, but he could clearly feel that he had traveled quite a distance, and the needle on the fuel gauge had moved down a tiny notch. 5 liters of fuel had already been consumed. This made him even more cautious, trying to maintain a constant speed to reduce fuel consumption. Just then his gaze suddenly froze, his body leaning forward slightly, staring fixedly at the road ahead, his foot subconsciously stepping lightly on the brake. In the very center of the road ahead, a gray-black metal box sat quietly, about the size of a suitcase. Its surface was smooth, without any markings. On the monotonous black road, it appeared particularly conspicuous, forming a sharp contrast with the surrounding yellow sand and the road. The van slowed down gradually and finally stopped about 5 meters in front of the metal box. Woody did not get out of the car immediately, but first looked around through the window and checked the rearview mirror. The surroundings were still vast yellow sand, and he couldn't see the shadow of any vehicles or pedestrians. The black mist area in the distance had been left far behind him, and there was no dangerous aura or any abnormal movement for the time being. Even so, Woody did not relax his vigilance. Years of experience reading web novels told him that in a survival game, the more conspicuous the supplies, the more likely they were to hide danger. Perhaps it was a trap. Perhaps it was a snare set by other players. Or perhaps this supply crate itself carried unknown risks. Woody patiently observed for a full minute, confirming that there was really nothing unusual around and no trace of any other players, before he breathed a slight sigh of relief. After confirming there was no abnormality around, Woody pushed open the car door. The road under his feet was still scorching, making his soles ache slightly. He walked quickly to the supply crate. He did not rashly touch other parts of the box, but slowly extended his right hand, his fingertips pressing lightly on the surface of the gray-black metal box. The next second, the wristband on his wrist vibrated slightly, a crisp prompt sounded in his mind, and the light screen popped up automatically, with a line of white text clearly visible. Ding, detected a common supply crate. Open it. It finally came. Woody's heart skipped a beat, filled with both the joy of finding supplies and a hint of imperceptible tension. This was the first supply crate he had encountered in this survival game, and also his first opportunity to obtain survival supplies. He dared not be the least bit careless. Woody took a deep breath, forced himself to calm down, and silently chanted in his heart, "Open." The moment the command was given, the gray-black metal box in the center of the road ahead suddenly emitted a faint white light. Without any mechanical opening action, and without any sound, it slowly became transparent and finally turned into countless fragments of glimmer, dissipating into the air as if it had never appeared. At the same time, the wristband's storage interface popped up automatically. Lines of clear, prompt information refreshed synchronously on the light screen, each one making Woody's tense heartstrings relax slightly. Obtained, purified water ×2, 500 ml bottle. Obtained, compressed biscuits ×2, 100 grams each, can provide basic energy and satiety. Obtained, beef jerky ×1, 50 grams, high protein, high calorie, can quickly replenish physical strength. Obtained, chocolate ×1, 30 grams, high calorie, can quickly replenish energy, alleviate hunger and fatigue. Obtained, gasoline ×10 liters, can be used for level 1 van range, can increase driving distance by about 100 kilometers. Woody carefully looked at the storage interface. 5 items were neatly placed in the 5 slots of the storage. There were 10 slots in total in the storage, and 5 empty slots remained. enough to store supplies obtained later. All supplies were automatically stored, requiring no manual operation from him, and the box disappeared completely. The whole process was fast and smooth, exactly as he had imagined. He raised his hand to tap on the purified water in the storage, and the item details were immediately displayed on the light screen, confirming it was safe to drink directly, without any problems. Looking at these 2 bottles of water, 2 packs of compressed biscuits, and 10 liters of gasoline, Wudi's nerves, which had been tense for a long time, finally relaxed a little. The 3 most basic and critical types of survival resources had been replenished at once. At least for the next period of time, he didn't need to worry about lack of water, lack of food, or running out of fuel. Wudi immediately returned to the car, leaned against the seat back, closed his eyes, and rested for a dozen seconds. When he opened his eyes again, the fatigue in his eyes had dissipated quite a bit, replaced by firmness and vigilance. The first supply crate had appeared, which meant that there would be a second, a third, or even more supply crates ahead. It also meant that there would be more unknowns ahead, more dangers. Perhaps he would encounter other players. Perhaps he would encounter dangerous areas. Perhaps he would encounter higher-level supply crates, or he might encounter traps. Wudi withdrew his thoughts, gently turned the throttle, and the van moved forward steadily again. He put away his excess emotions and carefully watched the sides of the road. Chapter 3. Automatic Hand Crossbow. The van drove steadily along the pitch-black road. The aging hum of the engine was exceptionally clear in the empty wilderness. Outside the windows, the yellow sand continued to roll in endless waves, and the scorching sun showed no signs of weakening. Hot wind poured in through the gaps in the windows, keeping the temperature inside the vehicle persistently high. Wudi's hands on the steering wheel were steady and firm, his gaze scanning the road ahead vigilantly. Much of the fatigue in his eyes had dissipated. The ordinary supply crate he had just found had completely solved his most pressing survival problem for the moment. 2 500 milliliters bottles of pure water, enough to sustain his water intake for a day, along with 2 compressed biscuits, a beef jerky stick, and a bar of chocolate, which could also meet his basic energy needs. The additional 10 liters of fuel made him breathe a sigh of relief. He glanced at the fuel gauge on the dashboard. With the initial 5 liters of fuel plus the 10 liters he had just added, he had started with 15 liters in total. After the consumption from this stretch of the road, about 13 liters remained. Considering that the Level 1 van consumed about 10 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers, this fuel was enough for him to drive another 130 kilometers or so he didn't need to worry about running out of fuel for the time being. With the guarantee of supplies and fuel, Wudi's mindset had become much calmer. He was no longer as anxious as when he had first set out. He maintained a steady speed, keeping the van at around 50 kilometers per hour, which neither wasted fuel nor prevented him from reacting in time if an emergency occurred. His left hand occasionally rested on his knee, his fingertips gently rubbing the wristband. Questions about talent levels and vehicle upgrades occasionally flashed through his mind, but he didn't dwell on them. Right now, surviving and finding more supplies were the most important things. He did not open the regional channel again. He knew it was highly likely still filled with chaotic cries for help and complaints. Rather than wasting time looking at that useless information, it was better to focus his attention on observing the road conditions and looking for the next supply crate. After all, in this survival world, only the supplies and strength in his own hands were the most reliable. Time flowed slowly amidst the hum of the engine and the sound of the wind outside, and the odometer on the dashboard ticked steadily. Since finding the first supply crate, Wudi had continued driving for nearly 20 minutes, and the number on the odometer had slowly jumped from 20 kilometers to around 40 kilometers. He had driven another full 20 kilometers forward. Just then, Wudi's gaze shifted slightly. His eyes landed on the side of the road to his right. It was no longer just monotonous yellow sand. A grayish-black metal box was resting quietly at the foot of a sand dune by the roadside. It was slightly smaller in volume than the ordinary supply crate he had encountered earlier, and its surface faintly shimmered with a pale bronze luster, forming a sharp contrast with the surrounding environment. Wu Di subconsciously stepped lightly on the brake, and the van slowed down gradually, finally stopping a dozen meters away from the supply crate. He didn't get out of the car immediately, but first looked around through the windows and scanned the rearview mirrors several times. The surroundings were still vast yellow sand. He couldn't see any traces of vehicles or pedestrians. There were no unusual movements, and no aura of danger. It was the same scene as when he had encountered the first supply crate, empty and silent. Even so, Wu Di did not let his guard down. Years of experience reading web novels had given him the habit of being cautious. He patiently observed for several dozen seconds, confirming that there were truly no traps around and no other players lying in ambush, before pushing open the car door. The road surface under his feet was still scorching hot, making the soles of his feet ache slightly. He walked quickly toward the supply crate on the roadside, his footsteps light and swift. When he reached it, he discovered that the surface of this supply crate was engraved with subtle patterns, making it more exquisite than the ordinary supply crate. That pale bronze luster was also more obvious. He reached out his right hand and gently pressed his fingertips onto the surface of the supply crate. The next second, the wristband on his wrist vibrated gently, and a crisp notification sound rang out. A light screen popped up automatically, reading, "Ding, bronze supply crate detected. Open it." Bronze supply crate? A trace of surprise flashed in Wu Di's eyes, immediately followed by a surge of joy. He could guess that, like talents, supply crates were also graded. The rewards inside a bronze supply crate were highly likely to be better than those in an ordinary supply crate. Without the slightest hesitation, he silently thought to himself, "Open?" The moment the command was issued, the bronze supply crate emitted a faint bronze glow. The light was brighter than the white light of the ordinary supply crate, yet there was no mechanical opening action and no sound at all. The box body slowly became transparent, and finally turned into fine, glimmering dust, dissipating into the air. At the same time, the wristband's storage interface popped up automatically, and lines of notification information refreshed simultaneously. Compared to when he had opened the ordinary supply crate earlier, there was one more item, and it was much richer. Obtained automatic hand crossbow, green quality, ×1. Obtained mineral sports water ×4, 500 ml bottle, quickly replenishes electrolytes, alleviates dehydration. Obtained energy bar ×4, 40 grams per bar, high carbohydrate, quickly replenishes energy, easy to carry. Obtained vacuum-packed marinated egg ×2, 60g egg, high protein, good taste, replenishes physical strength. Wu Di's gaze fell immediately on the automatic hand crossbow, green quality. This was the first piece of equipment he had obtained, and other than the vehicle, it was the only thing he could use for self-defense. He immediately clicked on this equipment, and a detailed description popped up on the light screen. Automatic hand crossbow, green quality, a basic civilian version produced by Senki Company. Simple to operate, moderate power. Do not aim at living targets. Includes crossbow bolts ×10. The brief introduction clearly explained the basic situation of the hand crossbow. A thought stirred in Wu Di's heart. His mythical talent, rule breakthrough, could upgrade equipment. Perhaps this green-quality automatic hand crossbow could be upgraded using his talent to become even more powerful. Without the slightest hesitation, he immediately followed the usage method of the talent, focused his attention, and applied the talent to the green-quality automatic hand crossbow in his storage. The next second, the wristband vibrated gently, and a pale blue light flashed. The icon of the green hand crossbow in the storage changed instantly, and the notification information updated simultaneously. Ding! Talent rule breakthrough activated. Automatic hand crossbow, green quality, upgraded by 1 tier, becoming automatic hand crossbow, blue quality. Wu Di immediately clicked on the upgraded blue quality automatic hand crossbow to view the new description. Automatic hand crossbow, blue quality, an enhanced civilian version produced by Senki Company. Expanded magazine. Increased power. Deals massive damage to large beasts. Simple to operate. Includes crossbow bolts ×20. Looking at the changes in the description, the corners of Woody's mouth curled up slightly, and a flash of satisfaction appeared in his eyes. Expanded magazine, increased power, and it could now deal massive damage to large beasts. The included crossbow bolts had also increased from 10 to 20. This was undoubtedly a huge improvement. In this unknown world, it was inevitable that he would encounter danger. With such an enhanced hand crossbow, his chances of survival had increased by another margin. Amidst his joy, a bold thought emerged once again. Since the talent could upgrade the green hand crossbow to blue, could he use the talent on the blue hand crossbow one more time to let it continue to upgrade? Thinking of this, Woody immediately focused his attention and tried to apply the talent to the blue quality automatic hand crossbow again. However, this time the wristband had no reaction, and there was no notification sound. The talent seemed as if it had failed. Woody frowned, then realized it seemed that the talent rule breakthrough could not be used again on items that had already been upgraded. In other words, each supply, piece of equipment, or blueprint could only be upgraded once using the talent. It could not be upgraded repeatedly. This discovery made him feel slightly regretful, but more than that, it made him clear-headed. He suddenly remembered that the wristband had once indicated that the talent rule breakthrough had 5 usage opportunities per day, and after they were used up, he would need to wait until midnight the next day for the count to refresh. He immediately clicked on the talent interface to check the usage count. Sure enough, upgrading the automatic hand crossbow earlier had already used up 1 opportunity. The current remaining usage count, 4 times. Woody's expression gradually became steady. His fingertips tapped gently on the wristband as he pondered silently in his heart. 5 talent opportunities seemed like a lot, but every time he used one, it could bring a huge improvement, or it could be wasted on insignificant items. Upgrading the automatic hand crossbow earlier was undoubtedly a very worthwhile use, but he could not use the remaining 4 opportunities carelessly. Cannot waste it, must use it properly. Woody reminded himself silently in his heart. It was only noon now. There was still a long time until 2/4 today. During this period, he might encounter more supply crates, or perhaps find more valuable equipment, supplies, or blueprints. When the time came, deciding how to use the remaining 4 talent opportunities based on his gains would be the safest choice. Unless he encountered an emergency that required the talent to solve, he would absolutely not easily use the remaining 4 opportunities. He glanced at the storage interface again. The basic survival supplies provided by the bronze supply crate were indeed twice as much as those from the ordinary supply crate, enough to sustain him for a longer period. The only regret was that he had not obtained additional fuel, but the current fuel was enough for him to continue driving for a while. Woody turned and returned to the van, closing the door to shut out the scorching air outside. He did not leave immediately, but took a bottle of pure water from the storage, twisted off the cap, and took a gentle sip. The cool water flowed down his throat, instantly relieving the feeling of being parched. After finishing the water, he placed the hand crossbow on the passenger seat so he could access it at any time, then gripped the steering wheel and cast his gaze once again toward the long road ahead. With the enhanced automatic hand crossbow in his hand and sufficient supplies, his confidence had increased significantly. Woody gently turned the accelerator pedal, and the van moved forward steadily once again. He gripped the steering wheel, his gaze locked vigilantly on the road ahead, continuing to drive toward the unknown path ahead, while keeping an eye on the roadside, looking for traces of the next supply crate. Chapter 4. Supply Crates Beyond the Yellow Sand. Woody closed the car door and instinctively glanced at the passenger seat. The blue-quality automatic hand crossbow lay there quietly, its body shimmering with a faint, cold light within easy reach. This sight eased his taut nerves ever so slightly. The vehicle slowly started, the engine's hum once again breaking the silence of the wilderness. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his gaze still firmly locked on the road ahead, yet he couldn't help but begin to analyze the pattern of supply crate appearances in his mind. The first supply crate had landed right in the middle of the road, about 10 kilometers after departure. The second bronze supply crate was a full 20 kilometers from the first. hidden at the foot of a sand dune on the right side of the road. One was in the middle of the road, the other at the roadside, with irregular spacing and no discernible pattern in their locations. He recalled the sizes of those supply crates. Normal small suitcase dimensions, roughly 40 centimeters times 40 centimeters times 40 centimeters. Not exactly compact, but not particularly conspicuous either, especially in this environment of swirling yellow sand where visibility was easily distorted. A moment's distraction could mean missing one entirely. This was also why, since setting off, he had remained focused on driving and never opened the regional channel again. Irrelevant information would only scatter his attention. Missing a supply crate could mean missing a crucial resource for survival. In this competition for survival, any oversight could be fatal. His eyes swept over the endless yellow sand on either side of the car window, and a new question surfaced, since supply crates appeared both in the middle of the road and at the roadside. Could there also be supply crates hidden deep within the yellow sand beyond the road? The wristband hadn't provided any hints about the spawn range of supply crates. He could only speculate blindly, not daring to test the theory in the slightest. The wristband had once hinted that there was no danger within the initial 24 hours, but that boundless expanse of yellow sand still sent a chill through his heart. What lay beneath the sand? Deeper desolation or unknown dangers? He dared not think about it, nor did he dare to rashly step out of the vehicle and into the sand. The unknown was always the most terrifying, especially in this bewildering world of survival. Caution was the first rule for staying alive. Wu Dai raised his hand to rub the space between his eyebrows. His fingertips touched the sweat beads on his forehead, startling him into realizing he had only been in this world for about an hour. Yet in this short hour, his mind had been wound tight, constantly vigilant about road conditions and surroundings, while also pondering issues of survival, supplies, and talents. A wave of fatigue washed over him, more exhausting than a full day's work in his ordinary life. But strangely, amidst the fatigue, there was also a faint, indescribable thrill. The feeling of seeking a lifeline in desperate straits, of obtaining supplies through his own caution and judgment, was both unfamiliar and novel. It made him wonder if deep down he had always craved such adventure. This thought flashed through his mind only to be forcibly suppressed. Now was not the time to dwell on personal feelings. He understood the principle of one step ahead, every step ahead better than anyone. The most important thing at the moment was to keep driving forward, searching for more supplies, and also to find something more valuable to make proper use of the remaining 4 talent opportunities. He absolutely would not waste these precious chances on insignificant, ordinary supplies. Wu Di straightened his back again, gathered his focus, his gaze sharpening once more. He held the steering wheel steadily, maintaining a constant speed of 50 kilometers per hour as the odometer slowly ticked upward, extending bit by bit toward more distant places. Time passed slowly. After driving for nearly another 30 minutes, the number on the odometer increased by another 20 kilometers, bringing the total distance traveled to around 60 kilometers. At that moment, his eyes flickered slightly, his gaze landing on the roadside to the left of the highway. A gray-black metal crate leaned quietly against a sand dune, its size and appearance identical to the first ordinary supply crate. Wu Di gently pressed the brake, bringing the van to a slow stop about a dozen meters away from the supply crate. He didn't get out immediately. Since the wristband space could only hold 10 items, to avoid being unable to store supplies obtained later, he immediately operated the wristband to take out the mineral sports water, energy bars, and other supplies from the warehouse. He then neatly placed these items on the empty floor in the back seat of the vehicle. After completing these preparations, he picked up the automatic hand crossbow from the passenger seat with his right hand. It felt solid and weighty. The coolness of its body brought him further reassurance. With a weapon, he had an extra layer of security. This was his only source of confidence at the moment. He ensured the hand crossbow remained in safe mode throughout, eliminating any possibility of accidental discharge, before finally pushing open the car door. Clutching the automatic hand crossbow in his hand, he warily scanned the surroundings, confirming nothing was amiss, then quickly walked toward the supply crate. Up close, he extended his left hand, lightly pressing his fingertips against the surface of the crate. The next second, the wristband vibrated softly, and a prompt sounded. Ding, ordinary supply crate detected. Open? Open, Woody mentally commanded, his eyes still vigilantly scanning the surroundings, not daring to relax in the slightest. A pale white light flashed as the supply crate slowly dissolved into motes of light and vanished. The wristband's warehouse interface automatically popped up, lines of prompt information refreshing simultaneously. They were all basic living supplies, no fuel nor any more valuable equipment. Obtained, toilet paper times 1 pack, 10 rolls, basic living supplies. Obtained, lemon-flavored sports drink times 1 bottle, 500 milliliters, replenishes water and electrolytes, relieves fatigue. Obtained, mini lighter times 1 can be used for ignition, emergencies. Obtained, metal block times 3, basic resource, can be used for subsequent item repair or crafting. Woody glanced at the prompts. Was this all an ordinary supply crate could yield? As before, when opening a supply crate, all items were automatically stored in the wristband warehouse without requiring manual operation. His gaze lingered on the metal block times 3 prompt, stirring a thread of thought. This was the first time he had obtained such a basic resource. The wristband indicated it could be used for item repair or crafting. He figured these metal blocks would likely prove very useful later if the vehicle broke down or if he needed to craft tools. After collecting the supplies, he didn't linger for a moment. His right hand still gripping the automatic hand crossbow, he quickly returned to the van and closed the door. He leaned the hand crossbow against the passenger seat, then moved all the basic living supplies he had just stored in the warehouse to the empty space in the back seat for easy access. With that done, Woody immediately stepped on the accelerator, and the van moved forward smoothly once more. Currently, the supplies were sufficient to sustain him for a while. His greatest worry was still the fuel issue. Having just driven another 20 kilometers, fuel must have been consumed. If he couldn't find a fuel resupply, the journey ahead would only become more difficult. He glanced at the fuel gauge on the dashboard. Sure enough, the needle had dropped significantly. After the consumption from this leg of the journey, only about 6 liters remained. More than half was already gone. At the rate of a level 1 van consuming 10 liters of fuel per 100 kilometers, these 6 liters could only take him a maximum of 60 kilometers further. If he didn't find a fuel resupply, the vehicle would eventually stall. Anxiety quietly rose within him again. Gripping the steering wheel tighter, his gaze grew even more vigilant. He not only watched for supply crates by the roadside, but also silently searched for any clues that might lead to a fuel resupply. The van continued forward. After driving for nearly another hour, the number on the odometer increased by another 40 kilometers, bringing the total distance traveled to around 100 kilometers. Just as the anxiety in his heart grew stronger, and he even began considering whether to slow down to conserve fuel, his eyes suddenly focused, and he instinctively hit the brakes. In the distant yellow sand, something seemed to reflect a faint white light under the blazing sun. The glow wasn't dazzling, but against the expanse of yellowish-brown sand, it stood out starkly. Woody turned off the engine. The interior instantly fell into silence. He leaned forward slightly, squinting his eyes, staring intently at the reflective area, observing carefully. It was too far away to make out what it was exactly, or how far it was. He could only vaguely see that the reflective area wasn't large. Its shape seemed irregular, yet it bore some resemblance to the metallic sheen of the previous supply crates, that same cold, faint metallic reflection. Was it another supply crate, or something else? A flicker of anticipation, mixed with a thread of wariness, stirred within Woody. After a moment's thought, he made a decision. Whatever it was worth investigating. If it was a supply crate, he might find a fuel resupply. If it was something else, it would still provide another clue. Anything was better than sitting here anxiously waiting. Taking a deep breath, Woody pushed open the car door and stepped into this scorching wilderness, walking step by step toward that reflective area in the distant yellow sand. Chapter 5. The First Black Iron Supply Crate. Woody gripped the automatic hand crossbow and slowly pushed open the van door. A blast of scorching wind rushed into his face, making him frown subconsciously. He did not rashly step into the yellow sand, but stood at the edge of the door, looking down at the scorching sand beneath his feet. Under the sunlight, the grains of sand shone with a blinding white light. Just by looking at it, he could feel the heat wave rushing towards him. After pondering for a moment, Woody turned back into the van and quickly operated the wristband. He took out all 4 bottles of mineral sports water from the back seat and stored them one by one into the wristband's storage space. As for the energy bars, vacuum-packed spiced eggs, and other food, he left them on the empty space of the back seat. He knew nothing about the situation outside the yellow sand, and in such hot weather, he wouldn't last long without water. Water was the most critical survival resource at the moment. Woody knew that this dilapidated van was his only foundation in this world, his shelter. No matter what that reflective point was, even if it contained precious supplies, survival had to be the prerequisite. Having the courage to fight for it was a good thing, but reckless impulsiveness would only lead him into a desperate situation. If there was danger deep in the yellow sand, or if his body couldn't hold out, he had to turn back to the van immediately, never getting entangled in a fight. After making full preparations, Woody pushed open the van door again. This time, without the slightest hesitation, he lifted his foot and stepped into the vast yellow sand. As soon as his soles touched the sand, a scorching, stinging pain struck him. He subconsciously quickened his pace, only to find that the yellow sandy ground was much harder to walk on than imagined. The soft sand would firmly wrap around his soles, requiring immense effort to lift each step, as if he were stepping on thick cotton, or being dragged by an invisible force, making his forward speed exceptionally slow. After walking for just a few minutes, Woody was already drenched in sweat. Beads of sweat on his forehead slid down his cheeks and hit the sand, evaporating instantly without leaving a trace. Only then did he belatedly realize that the stuffiness inside the van was actually acceptable compared to the torment in the yellow sand. When the van was running, there was wind to alleviate the heat, but in this static yellow sand, the heat wave was like an invisible cage, wrapping him tightly. Even breathing became scorching. Every breath of air felt like swallowing flames. He looked up at the still blurry reflective point in the distance, then looked down at the yellow sand beneath his feet, silently estimating the surface temperature. It was probably over 50 degrees. The soles of his shoes felt like they were about to be roasted, the stinging pain in his soles becoming increasingly intense, and his legs gradually becoming heavy. Woody gritted his teeth and did not stop. His right hand still firmly gripped the automatic hand crossbow, his eyes vigilantly scanning the surroundings. The yellow sand was vast. He couldn't see any reference points, or hear any movement. There was only the sound of his own heavy footsteps, his rapid breathing, and the faint rustling sound of the wind blowing over the sand, monotonous and oppressive. He didn't dare to be distracted for even a second, moving forward with difficulty while keeping an eye on his surroundings, fearing that unknown danger might suddenly appear deep in the yellow sand. Time passed bit by bit, and every step felt exceptionally difficult. He walked and stopped, occasionally leaning against a sand dune to rest for a few seconds, unscrewing a bottle of mineral sports water from the wristband's storage space to take a small sip. He didn't dare to drink much, knowing the preciousness of water. Every drop had to be saved. Just like that, he struggled for nearly 30 minutes, but the distance covered was estimated to be less than 1 kilometer. Just as he felt his legs turning weak, his gaze suddenly sharpened. The reflective point in the distance finally became clear. To the naked eye, he could vaguely see that it was a square object, emitting a faint metallic luster, exactly the same as the supply crate he had encountered before. Seeing hope, a surge of strength rose in Woody's heart. He took a deep breath, stepped forward heavily again, and trudged toward the reflective point. He had thought he would be able to reach it quickly, but the obstacles of the yellow sand were far greater than he had imagined. It took another full 20 minutes before he finally reached the vicinity of the reflective point. By this time, Woody was soaked, his clothes sticking tightly to his body, covered in fine sand. His legs felt as heavy as if they were filled with lead, and he was almost exhausted of even the strength to lift his arms. He stopped, leaned on his knees, and panted heavily. After resting for a good while, he gradually recovered some strength. Only then did Wudi realize that he wasn't actually very far from this supply crate, estimated to be about 1.5 kilometers away, but he had spent nearly 50 minutes to get here. The difficulty of the yellow sandy ground far exceeded his expectations. Every step required several times more effort than usual. Wudi did not immediately approach the supply crate but braced himself, gripping the automatic hand crossbow, and vigilantly inspected the surroundings. He walked around the supply crate once, confirming there was no abnormality, no traps, and no traces of unknown danger. The yellow sand remained vast, with no movement in sight, and only then did he breathe a sigh of relief. He slowly walked to the side of the supply crate, his body swaying slightly due to fatigue. His right hand still gripped the automatic hand crossbow, and his left hand cautiously reached out, his fingertips gently pressing against the surface of the supply crate. The surface of the supply crate was thicker than ordinary supply crates, emitting a faint black iron luster, and the texture was harder, completely different from the ordinary supply crate and bronze supply crate he had encountered before. In the next second, the wristband on his wrist vibrated slightly. A crisp, prompt sound rang out, and a light screen automatically popped up with a line of white text clearly visible. Ding! Black iron supply crate detected. Open it? A black iron supply crate. A trace of joy flashed in the depths of Wudi's eyes, and the fatigue in his heart seemed to dissipate a little. He could guess that the level of the black iron supply crate was higher than the bronze supply crate, and the rewards inside would definitely be more generous. After silently reciting "open" in his heart, he immediately retracted his left hand and vigilantly scanned the surroundings again. The moment the command was given, the black iron supply crate emitted a faint black iron-colored light. The light was steady and heavy, and the crate body slowly became transparent, finally turning into fine glimmering light and dissipating into the yellow sand. At the same time, the wristband's warehouse interface automatically popped up, and lines of prompt information refreshed synchronously, each one making Wudi's heart shake. Obtained, fuel times 1 barrel, 20 liters. Obtained, lucky pendant times 1. Obtained, vehicle engine times 1. Looking at these rewards, a surge of excitement rose in Wudi's heart, especially the 20 liters of fuel, which completely solved his most pressing fuel problem. Without immediately clicking on these supplies to view details, Wudi turned around immediately, gripped the automatic hand crossbow in his hand, and walked quickly in the direction of the van. The depths of the yellow sand were still full of unknowns. No one knew if danger would suddenly appear, and Wudi could clearly feel that the surrounding temperature was getting higher and higher, the heat wave more scorching, his throat dry enough to smoke, and only 1 bottle of water left in the wristband's storage space. He had to hurry back to the van. If he stayed any longer, he was afraid he wouldn't even have the strength to return. The return journey was even more difficult than the way there. His legs were already aching unbearably. Every step felt like torture. The scorching pain of the sand was becoming more intense, and his vision was becoming somewhat blurry due to the heat and fatigue. He gritted his teeth, relying on his strong willpower, and moved forward with difficulty, step by step, with only one thought in his mind: return to the van as soon as possible. He would occasionally stop, take a small sip of the only remaining mineral sports water to relieve the thirst in his throat, and then continue moving forward. Along the way, he maintained his vigilance, his eyes scanning the surroundings from time to time, fearing an accident. Just like that, he spent another nearly an hour before he finally saw the van parked on the side of the road. At that moment, his tense nerves finally relaxed a little, and his pace quickened a bit. When Wudi finally walked to the van and pulled open the door, he almost staggered into the van, collapsing into the driver's seat, panting heavily, his strength completely exhausted, unable to even lift his arms. He rested for a full dozen minutes before gradually recovering some strength, and his tense nerves finally relaxed completely. Only then did he dare to lift his hand to wipe the sweat and sand off his face, unscrew the last remaining bottle of mineral sports water in the wristband storage space, and gulp it down. The cool water flowed down his throat, instantly alleviating his thirst and fatigue. Leaning back in the driver's seat, Wu Di finally felt at ease. He raised his hand and clicked on the wristband's warehouse interface, his eyes falling on the newly obtained supplies, preparing to carefully check the details of each item to see their specific uses, especially the vehicle engine, and whether it could be used on the vehicle as soon as possible. Chapter 6. Supply Inventory and Vehicle Upgrade. Wu Di leaned back in the driver's seat, taking a dozen minutes to catch his breath. His rapid breathing gradually steadied, and the soreness throughout his body eased slightly. His right hand still instinctively gripped the automatic hand crossbow. The touch of the cool weapon body against his fingertips provided a sense of complete security. Once he had completely calmed down, he raised his hand to open the wristband inventory interface. His gaze fell upon the 3 items obtained from the black iron supply crate, and he began to examine them one by one, his expression calm and rational, without any unnecessary sentiment. The first thing he focused on was the most urgently needed 20 liters of fuel. The wristband prompted that the fuel could be added directly to the fuel tank, so he clicked Confirm immediately. Now the fuel was enough to support him in continuing to search for a distance ahead. He no longer needed to worry about fuel shortages, and he felt a bit more at ease. Next, Wu Di shifted his gaze to the lucky pendant. The wristband's light screen popped up with a detailed description. Lucky pendant, blue quality, vehicle accessory, can be installed directly inside the vehicle after use. Attribute, slightly increases the probability of obtaining high-quality items from supply crates. Wu Di quickly scanned the description and immediately made a judgment. This was a long-term benefit item, crucial for subsequent resource searching and acquiring high-level equipment, so it must be installed and used. At the same time, he remembered he had 4 remaining uses of his talent. As a level 3 blue quality item, the pendant met the usage conditions for the talent Rule Breakthrough. Without hesitation, he chose to use the talent on the lucky pendant. The moment the talent was triggered, the wristband's light screen flickered slightly, and an unexpected prompt popped up. Talent effect triggered. Quality increased by 2 levels. The next second, the attributes updated accordingly. Lucky pendant, golden quality, vehicle accessory. Installed attribute, significantly increases the probability of obtaining high-quality items and rare items from supply crates, with a slight probability of avoiding low-level dangers. A flash of surprise crossed Wu Di's eyes, but he immediately regained his calm. Without lingering, he operated the wristband to install the lucky pendant next to the vehicle's center console. A gourd-shaped pendant immediately appeared beside the center console. After dealing with the pendant, Wu Di shifted his focus to the vehicle engine. His fingertips traced the item description on the wristband's light screen, and he examined it with extreme care. Vehicle engine, green quality, vehicle core accessory, can be used to upgrade the vehicle's original engine. Vehicle travel speed plus 20, fuel consumption reduced by 20%. After reading the description, Wu Di realized more clearly than ever, in this survival world, this dilapidated van was his core reliance, his shelter, and his mobile tool. The importance of vehicle accessories even far exceeded that of the automatic hand crossbow in his hand. Moreover, he vaguely guessed that the supply crates on the first day would likely prioritize producing finished items. Since there were resources like metal blocks, there would definitely be corresponding blueprints or similar items later on. After all, at this moment, neither he nor other survivors had accumulated enough basic resources. Only finished items could truly help everyone get through the initial hardships. After pondering for a moment, Wu Di decided to use his talent on the vehicle engine to further improve its quality. He immediately triggered the talent Rule Breakthrough. After the light screen flickered, the attributes upgraded accordingly. Vehicle engine, blue quality, vehicle core accessory. Installed attribute, increases vehicle travel speed plus 40, reduces fuel consumption by 40%, increases engine durability, and lowers the probability of malfunctions. Vehicle engine detected. Install? Install. Wu Di did not hesitate and clicked immediately. Vehicle engine installed. Woody immediately opened the vehicle section of his personal interface. It then popped up. Vehicle, Level 1 dilapidated van. Accessories, blue vehicle engine, maximum speed 100 kilometers per hour. There was no other extra information. After reading it without hesitation, Woody immediately started the vehicle. The location of the black iron supply crate appeared in his mind again. It was deep in the yellow sand off the road. This also made him realize that the spawn range of supply crates was not limited to the middle of the road or the roadside. They would also spawn deep in the yellow sand, and with higher levels and better supplies. But he quickly calmed down, recalling the difficulty of walking in the yellow sand just now. Surface temperatures of over 50 degrees, loose sand grains consuming a massive amount of stamina, a 1.5-kilometer journey taking nearly 50 minutes, and it also consumed a large amount of water. A moment of carelessness could lead to a desperate situation. Combining these experiences, Woody quickly reached a conclusion in his mind. Do not enter deep into the yellow sand unless necessary. Subsequently, prioritize searching for supply crates on the road and along both sides of the road. Only when in urgent need of high-level supplies or facing fuel shortages, and when confirmed to be relatively safe, should one consider stepping into the yellow sand. After all, safe survival was the key to living for the long term. The van slowly drove away from the roadside, returned to the road, and drove toward the unknown direction ahead. The fuel gauge on the dashboard showed that the fuel level was sufficient. With the upgraded vehicle engine, Woody's mindset was calmer than before. He gripped the steering wheel tightly, his gaze vigilantly scanning the road ahead and the sand dunes on both sides. His right hand occasionally touched the automatic hand crossbow beside the passenger seat, keeping alert at all times without the slightest relaxation. The vehicle drove steadily through the vast wilderness, with only the hum of the engine accompanying the faint sound of wind blowing past the car windows, moving forward all the way. Chapter 7. Harvest Before the Darkness. Woody stared at the light screen of the wristband on his left wrist. The numbers precisely ticked at 1557, and every tick of the second hand felt like it was hammering against his nerves. The mileage on the dashboard climbed steadily, and the upgraded engine emitted a low, steady roar, no longer having the initial noise and vibration. There was still more than half of the fuel left in the tank, but water was running low. Additionally, there was that cold countdown to the disaster on the wristband. The system had never revealed any information regarding the type or intensity of the disaster, and this complete unknown made him feel more lost and uneasy than visible monsters. He could no longer drive slowly. Woody took a deep breath and pressed the accelerator deeper, the old van accelerating steadily on the asphalt road, avoiding the scattered shallow potholes and gravel piles on the road. Along this stretch, he drove 100 kilometers in one go. Within his field of vision along the way, 4 supply crates appeared one after another. Woody did not hesitate at all. Every time he passed a supply crate, he would steady the car to a stop, reach out to touch the crate, and complete the opening. There were no unnecessary movements, no process of disassembling the crate. The moment his fingertips touched the metal surface, the system notification sound played, and after confirming the opening, the crate dissolved into fine light particles, the supplies directly stored into the wristband warehouse, the entire process taking only a few seconds. By the time he finished opening the 4th supply crate, the wristband time showed 17:52. The sun on the horizon had long lost its midday heat, turning into a blurry, dark red halo rapidly sinking toward the horizon. The entire yellow sand gobi was shrouded in a thick layer of gray-black shadows, the light fading at a speed visible to the naked eye, the originally clear edges of the road gradually becoming blurred, and the temperature dropping accordingly. The hot, dry wind began to mix with a biting chill, and the sound of wind and sand in the distance seemed to become exceptionally harsh. Woody was just preparing to continue forward, wanting to cover some more distance before the sky turned completely dark, when the wristband on his left wrist suddenly flashed with a blinding blue light. A server-wide announcement forced onto the light screen, and a cold, mechanical notification sound rang directly in his mind. Global announcement. The current time has reached 18, entering the nighttime period. During the night, global visibility will continue to decrease, and driving at night will face unpredictable risks. After reading the announcement, Woody looked out the window. The sky was already so dim that he could barely see the scenery 10 meters away, with only the outline of the road barely distinguishable. The system's warning was not a joke, since it clearly warned that traveling at night was fraught with danger. He could no longer harbor any wishful thinking. Woody slowly stepped on the brake, parked the van in a relatively flat position in the middle of the road, pulled the handbrake, and turned off the engine. It hadn't reached the point of complete pitch-black darkness yet, so he could take advantage of this last bit of twilight to count the harvest from this trip, so he could know where he stood. He focused his mind and brought up the warehouse interface of the wristband, the light screen lighting up in the dim cabin, clearly listing all the supplies he had just obtained. First were the spoils from the 2 ordinary supply crates, all being the most basic survival supplies. Yet they solved his urgent needs. Pure water times 6. Instant noodles times 4. Compressed biscuits times 2. Cloth times 3. 6 bottles of pure water entering the warehouse instantly relieved his anxiety about the lack of water. At least his drinking water for the next day was guaranteed. Next were the spoils from the 2 bronze supply crates, far richer than the ordinary supply crates. Besides basic supplies, there were unexpected surprises. Basic survival resources and materials were as follows: pure water times 8, vacuum-packed bread times 5, braised egg times 3, metal block times 12, rubber times 4, plastic times 3, fuel times 10 liters. Fortunately, the 10 liters of fuel replenished his consumption. Otherwise, Woody would truly have had a fear of running out of fuel. Woody placed all the water and food on the empty space behind the driver's seat. And what truly made Woody's eyes light up were the 2 items additionally obtained from the 2 bronze supply crates. The first was a light green blueprint, with clear information marked next to the icon. Vehicle frame design blueprint. Green quality. Description. Core prerequisite blueprint for vehicle upgrades. Can be used to craft a sturdy basic vehicle frame, replacing the original old frame, increasing the vehicle's overall durability and load-bearing capacity. Crafting requirements: metal block times 20, rubber times 5, plastic times 5. The second was a finished material piece glowing with a light green sheen. Reinforced glass times 1, green quality, description, high-performance protective material, can directly replace the vehicle's existing damaged windows, improving window protection capabilities, replaces all vehicle windows. Woody stared at these 2 items in the warehouse, his fingers sliding gently on the light screen, falling into deep thought. First, look at that vehicle frame design blueprint. He quickly calculated his current material inventory. There were only 15 metal blocks, 4 rubber, and 3 plastic, which was still a significant gap from the crafting requirements of metal block times 20, rubber times 5, and plastic times 5, making it impossible to craft for the time being. What made Woody even more conflicted was whether to use his talent promotion to strengthen this blueprint. His talent could promote an item by 1 tier with a 100% success rate. But a blueprint was not a finished product after all. Once promoted, would it cause the crafting requirements to increase as well? If that were the case, he could have originally slowly gathered the materials to craft it, but after promotion, it would only be harder to achieve, which would be counterproductive. Besides this, a bold idea popped into Woody's mind. He could completely wait until he gathered the materials and crafted the finished vehicle frame, then use his talent to strengthen it. But if he strengthened the blueprint now, could the finished product crafted be further promoted using his talent again? If it were possible, then his promotion talent's value would be infinitely magnified, which was undoubtedly an extremely exaggerated setting. It was just that this hypothesis could not be verified at all right now. The basic resources in his hands were insufficient to begin with. They were neither enough to craft the frame, nor could they withstand the consumption of repeated testing. After hesitating for a long time, Woody finally suppressed this thought and decided to temporarily shelve the vehicle frame design blueprint in the warehouse. Waiting, until he collected enough materials to find an opportunity to verify this hypothesis. In comparison, Woody did not hesitate at all regarding how to handle that piece of reinforced glass. The car was his only safe zone in this cruel competition, his lifeline. Especially in the coming night, the protective capability of the windows was directly related to his survival safety. As a green-quality protective material, the reinforced glass was already much stronger than the original damaged glass of the car, and if he used his talent to promote it, its protective capability would inevitably rise to another level. He no longer hesitated, accurately selecting reinforced glass ×1 in the warehouse, and silently recited in his heart, "Use talent promotion." Ding! Talent promotion activated. 100% success rate for promoting an item by 1 tier. Item, reinforced glass, has been promoted to crystallized bulletproof glass, blue quality. The item icon in the warehouse updated instantly. The light green halo faded, replaced by a clear blue light, and the texture of the glass on the icon also became more transparent and hard. Woody clicked on the details, and the description above had been completely renewed. Crystallized bulletproof glass ×1, blue quality, description, promoted from reinforced glass, forged using a special crystallization process, possessing both high strength and toughness, able to insulate against some external temperature. Ding! Detected installable vehicle accessory, crystallized bulletproof glass, immediately replace all damaged vehicle windows. The system notification sound rang at the right time, and Woody did not hesitate at all, immediately clicking confirm on the light screen. The next second, all of the van's original damaged and scratched windows instantly dissolved into light particles, and the crystallized bulletproof glass precisely fit the window frames. Perfectly seamless, the entire installation process completing instantly. Ding! Vehicle window replacement complete. Window protection level significantly improved. Woody raised his hand to touch the window, his fingertips feeling a cold and hard sensation. The transparent glass allowed him to clearly see the scenery outside, yet he could clearly feel a heavy sense of protection. Looking at these attributes, the heart that Woody had been keeping on edge finally settled down completely. With this blue-quality glass, staying in the car tonight, his safety had an extra layer of solid guarantee. After counting the supplies, Woody leaned back in the driver's seat, looking at the increasingly dark sky outside the window, but a few doubts arose in his heart. Along this journey, he encountered 4 supply crates and obtained a blueprint in reinforced glass. What level did such a harvest count as among the billions of survivors globally? Was it his own good luck, or was it the effect of that lucky pendant? Chapter 8, Information Gathering. Woody lay in the driver's seat, the shabby texture of the seat digging into his back, yet it was far less heavy than the vigilance in his heart. According to the system announcement's prompt, as long as he stayed inside the vehicle tonight, did not get out, and did not drive, he would likely be able to avoid the dangers of the night. However, when facing the unknown, human fear and worry never dissipate easily. Even though the upgraded crystallized bulletproof glass had already provided him with sufficient protection, he still dared not relax in the slightest. In just 6 short hours today, he had gone from being at a loss at the start to rushing around to find a supply crate, upgrading his vehicle, and replacing the window. His nerves had been constantly taut, and fatigue wrapped around him like a tide, his eyelids so heavy they were almost sticking together. But he still dared not rest. On one hand, he was worried about unexpected accidents in the dark of night. On the other hand, taking advantage of the window where he couldn't drive was the perfect time to gather information. During the day, he was busy traveling and finding a supply crate, so he had no extra energy to pay attention to the situation of other survivors. Now, he could finally calm down and see how others among the billions of survivors around the globe were doing, whether there was any experience he could borrow, or risks he could avoid. Thinking of this, Woody slightly loosened his grip on the steering wheel and gently slid his fingertip across the wristband's light screen. Fortunately, his parents were both over 50, and not within the 16 to 50 age range for the competition, so he didn't need to be distracted by worrying about his family's safety. He was alone, which was the only thing he could feel comforted by at this moment. Without any worries behind him, he could devote himself entirely to this cruel survival game. Woody first clicked on the world channel. The information on the light screen refreshed crazily in an instant, so fast that one couldn't see the full content. He hurriedly adjusted the refresh speed to the slowest setting, but even so, the screen was still filled with dense text, over 90% of which were useless cries for help. These cries for help made Woody's heart sink, but he was powerless to do anything. In this world where everyone is looking out for themselves, everyone is trying their best to survive and can barely protect themselves. So who would easily offer a helping hand? Even if someone wanted to help, they wouldn't know where to start. After watching for a few minutes, Woody closed the world channel. Rather than wasting time on chaotic cries for help, it was better to focus on the regional channel. The system setting up a regional channel likely meant that survivors in the same area would likely meet in the future. At this stage, paying attention to the information on the regional channel was far more valuable than the world channel, as it could help him understand the strength of surrounding survivors and prepare for subsequent journeys. Clicking on the regional channel, the information on the light screen was still chaotic, but it was much more orderly than the world channel. The system stipulated that each survivor could only post 3 messages per day on the regional channel. This avoided meaningless spam and gave each message a bit more weight. Even so, with a base of 100,000 people in one region, new messages kept popping up. Woody slowly slid the light screen, carefully browsing through every valuable piece of information. I only have half a bottle of water left, and I can't look for a supply crate at night. This trading system doesn't work either. What should I do? Does anyone have extra food? Anything is fine. I have money. How would you give it to me? The trading system doesn't work. Those who looked for a supply crate normally today shouldn't be lacking food or water, right? At the very least, they won't die of thirst or hunger. Did the person above not find a supply crate? Do you think money is still useful? I've been in the car the whole time and haven't dared to move. I have no water or food. Can someone come save me? Woody couldn't believe there were people who hadn't moved to look for a supply crate all day. They probably hadn't accepted the reality of the transmigration. Such people would definitely be eliminated next. Did we really transmigrate? Can we go back? Mom, Dad, are you there? I opened 3 ordinary supply crates today, all of which were food and water. Has anyone opened anything else? Fellow countrymen, let me summarize some advice. 1. You must drive to find a supply crate. There will be a supply crate near the road. Touching it will open it. It contains food and water, which will be automatically stored in your wristband warehouse. 2. You must stay in the car at night and not go out. The supply crate I encountered was on the edge of the road. Has anyone gone to look in the yellow sand area? Are you all staying in the car after dark? I always feel like there are noises outside and I dare not sleep. Does anyone know what the disaster is after 24 hours? The system hasn't given any hints at all. I'm so panicked. Seeing this, Woody realized once again that this was a real survival game. Although there were still many people who didn't understand the situation, most people were still relatively clear-headed and rational. It didn't seem as mindless as the novels and short dramas he had seen before. After 24 hours, is anyone willing to team up? I have extra food. As long as we can resist danger together, I can share half with you. Brother above, let's team up if we meet later. It's too hard to be alone. Are there any girls? I'm too scared alone. Looking for a companion. I have purified water and can share 2 bottles with you. Beauty, I have a black iron talent. Supply crate loot increase plus 40%. Let's team up if we meet later. Big brother will protect you and cover your food and drink. Beauty, I also have a black iron talent. Physique boost. Physique increased by 60%. I feel like I could carry the car and run. Come to Big Brother later, safety is guaranteed. What interested Woody the most were the messages about talent. Everyone was asking about each other's talent, sharing their own talent effects, and occasionally someone would ask for help, inquiring about tips for using their talent. Woody browsed carefully and found that most people's talent was of ordinary quality. A few were black iron quality. Very few were bronze quality, and he hadn't seen anyone mention silver quality. Damn, your talents feel so useful. I opened a mental warning of bronze quality. If something approaches nearby, it will trigger a reminder. I've been running until now and haven't even seen a blade of grass. It feels so useless. Asking if anyone has a silver talent. Can you let everyone see it? I opened 5 metal blocks and 2 pieces of rubber. Can these be used to repair the car? Does any brother know? I opened 3 supply crates, all ordinary, but fortunately the quantity is large, and I have enough food and water. I'm content. I'm almost out of fuel. Have you all opened any fuel? What should I do? If I can't get fuel tomorrow, the car will be useless. Woody browsed through them one by one, his fingers slowly sliding across the light screen, and he gradually felt more confident. He watched for over an hour. The messages on the regional channel kept updating, but he never saw anyone mention opening blueprints, reinforced glass, or other such rare items. He didn't even see anyone mention opening anything other than basic survival supplies and ordinary materials. Most people encountered ordinary supply crates. Only a small number of people were lucky enough to encounter a bronze supply crate, and what they opened were only ordinary daily supplies and basic crafting resources. Not even a single item of green quality was mentioned. At this moment, Woody finally realized that his gains today could definitely be considered top tier within the regional channel. Of course, Woody also knew that this didn't mean no other players had opened rare items. This survival game itself was full of competition. People's hearts are hard to read, and smart players would never easily expose their trump cards and gains. Just like him, ever since he entered the regional channel, he had been silently browsing information and had never used his 3 daily message opportunities. Even when seeing people asking for help or showing off, he always remained silent and did not reveal any of his own information. This was the wise move for survival. However, what puzzled Woody was why, based on his experience reading novels, the trading function couldn't be used. Also, the communication channel currently only allowed seeing messages sent by others, but he didn't know who sent them. It was also mysterious, and there wasn't even a private chat function. Did he have to wait until the 24-hour novice stage was over, or did something need to be triggered? Closing the regional channel, Woody leaned back in the driver's seat, looking at the pitch-black night outside the window. The confusion in his heart lessened, and he gained a bit more confidence. Through the information on the regional channel, he had a rough understanding of the strength and situation of other survivors. Next, what he needed to do was to continue collecting supplies, gather the materials for the vehicle frame, improve his strength, and quietly wait for the dawn to arrive, while also being prepared to deal with unknown disasters. Chapter 9. Physique Strengthening Agent. Having browsed the regional channel for another 2 hours while eating, Woody tapped his wristband light screen to check the time. It was already 20:30. Fatigue wrapped around his limbs like heavy cotton batting. After 6 hours of running around and searching for supplies during the day, followed by 2 hours of highly focused information browsing, he truly wanted to close his eyes and rest for a while. The night was deep, and outside the window, it was still pitch black. No one knew if any other accidents would occur tonight. However, Woody suddenly remembered that his talent, Rule Breakthrough, still had 2 chances to be used today. The system had clearly stated that the daily usage count for the talent would refresh exactly at 12 a.m. Aside from the basic survival supplies, materials, and a vehicle frame blueprint he had obtained today, he had no other items that could be upgraded. At the moment, he could only try to use these 2 talent charges on basic supplies. After hesitating for a few seconds, Woody took out a bottle of purified water from storage, held it in his hand, and whispered in his heart, "Use talent, Rule Breakthrough." Ding, talent, Rule Breakthrough activated. Item promoted by 1 rank. Item Purified Water has been promoted to Purified Water, Green Quality. Woody clicked on the item details, and a clear attribute description popped up on the light screen. Purified Water, Green Quality. Promoted from ordinary purified water. It has a sweet taste. After drinking, it can quickly eliminate physical fatigue and slowly recover spirit. No side effects. The effect lasts for 1 hour after consumption. Looking at the attribute description, Wu Di sighed softly. The effect of this green quality water was indeed good, but he still felt it was a bit of a waste to use a precious talent chance on a bottle of ordinary purified water. However, since there were no better items to upgrade right now, he couldn't let the talent chance go to waste, so he had to make do. Without overthinking it, Wu Di took another bottle of purified water from storage, preparing to use his final daily talent chance. Ding! Talent. Rule breakthrough. Activated. Item promoted by 2 ranks. Item purified water has been promoted to Physique Strengthening Agent, blue quality. The item icon on the light screen turned a clear blue. Wu Di's gaze locked onto the attribute description, and his pupils suddenly constricted in disbelief. Physique Strengthening Agent, blue quality. After drinking, it can permanently increase 1 point of basic physique attribute. No consumption limit, only 1 bottle of the same quality can be consumed per day. Blue quality water could actually permanently increase the basic physique attribute. The regret he felt a moment ago vanished instantly, replaced by uncontrollable pleasant surprise. Wu Di couldn't help but exclaim in his heart that this rule breakthrough was indeed a mythical grade talent. It was simply too powerful. This was only the effect of a blue quality item. If he could promote items to even higher qualities, who knew how heaven-defying the effects would be? He had been annoyed about wasting the talent chances, but now he only felt lucky that he hadn't missed these 2 opportunities. A sense of confidence surged from the bottom of his heart, giving Wu Di more faith in his future survival. Without any hesitation, he unscrewed the cap of the Physique Strengthening Agent and tilted his head back to drink the entire bottle. The sweet water slid down his throat, and a faint but clear warm current spread through his esophagus to his entire body. A subtle tingling sensation came from his limbs, and most of his original fatigue dissipated. Wu Di immediately pulled up the personal attributes interface on his wristband, and the information on the light screen was clearly visible. Personal attributes. Name, Wu Di. Physique, 9. Spirit, 13. Talent, Rule Breakthrough, Mythical quality. Talent Effect 1 can be used on a single item category. 100% chance to increase by 1 rank. 30% chance to increase by 2 ranks. 5% chance to increase by 3 ranks. Daily usage, 5 times. Maximum promotion cannot exceed mythical quality. Talent Effect 2 can target a single item to directly break through 3 ranks. Cooldown, 72 hours. Maximum promotion cannot exceed mythical grade. Talent Note, mythical grade talent, unique trait, can only be used to promote single item categories, limited to supplies, equipment, and blueprints. Vehicle, worn out van, level 1. His physique had indeed changed from 8 to 9. Feeling the subtle changes in his body, his previously aching limbs became powerful. This 1-point increase in physique was even greater than Wu Di had imagined. Amidst his joy, Wu Di remembered that Rule Breakthrough had a second talent effect, targeting any item to break through 3 ranks, though this effect had a 3-day cooldown. He subconsciously touched the vehicle frame design blueprint in his wristband storage, a hint of hesitation rising in his heart should he use it on the blueprint now. But on second thought, a 3-day cooldown was not short. He hadn't gathered all the materials to craft the vehicle frame yet. Even if he upgraded the blueprint by 3 ranks, he wouldn't be able to craft it immediately, which would waste a precious high-rank breakthrough opportunity. It would be better to wait. Tomorrow, while traveling and searching for supplies, he could see if he could find any more valuable items. It wouldn't be too late to use the talent effect then. Having made up his mind, Wu Di secretly decided, regardless of whether he found anything good tomorrow, he had to use talent effect too. The sooner he used it, the sooner the cooldown would start, allowing him to reach the next usage opportunity faster. With the talent usage issue resolved, Wu Di adjusted the angle of the driver's seat and found a relatively comfortable position to lie down. Without thinking further, He fell into a deep sleep accompanied by the faint, strange noises outside the window. After sleeping for an unknown amount of time, a slight shaking suddenly occurred, startling Wu Di awake. He snapped his eyes open, felt dazed for 3 seconds, and immediately fumbled to grab the automatic hand crossbow on the passenger seat. At the same time, he tapped his wristband light screen to check the time by its glow. It was now 0:30. Outside the cabin was a darkness so thick it wouldn't dissipate, without any light source. This worn-out van itself wasn't equipped with any lights. Only the interface popped up by the wristband light screen emitted a faint blue light, barely illuminating the narrow cabin. Using this dim light, Wu Di stared intently at the window, straining to listen for any movement outside, but it was pitch black and he could see nothing. The vehicle continued to shake from time to time, with varying intensity, accompanied by several muffled thumping sounds. Wu Di's heart tightened with every jolt. He didn't know what exactly was happening outside, but Wu Di instantly recalled the system announcement's hint. The first 24 hours were the novice stage. If there was danger even inside the car, it was likely that few of them would survive. Wu Di took a deep breath, forcing himself to calm down, and kept chanting in his heart. As long as he stayed in the car, he was most likely safe. Once he stepped out, he would surely encounter unknown dangers. Holding the hand crossbow, he leaned tightly against the seat, his eyes alertly fixed on the window, prepared to deal with any emergency at any moment. Chapter 10, Upgrading to a Level 2 Vehicle. And so, Wu Di muddled through the late night. The occasional slight shaking of the vehicle and the vague, abnormal noises from outside never escalated into real danger. Clutching the automatic hand crossbow, he kept his nerves half asleep, half awake, until the darkness outside the window gradually faded, and a faint glimmer of light pierced the dark gray sky. At 6 in the morning, the wristband chimed a crisp alert on time. Ding, night has ended. Wishing you all a pleasant journey. Wu Di rubbed his throbbing head and immediately opened the regional channel. A night had passed, and the channel was already in an uproar, messages densely scrolling upward. Holy shit! I was scared to death last night. The car kept shaking. I thought monsters were going to charge in. Same here. Didn't dare sleep at all, just listened to the thumping outside, only dared to close my eyes when it was almost dawn. Does anyone know what the hell was outside? I didn't even dare glance out the window. Look at the player count in the top right corner. It was exactly 100,000 yesterday. Now it's only 93,632. Over 6,000 people gone in one night. Must be people who couldn't resist getting out of their cars. During the novice period, they'd gamble with their lives. Everyone, hurry up. Who knows what's waiting for us today? The novice stage ends after 12 noon, so start thinking about how to survive. Do you think those 6,000 plus missing people returned to the original world? Still dreaming. Think aliens are playing with us. What do I do? I'm almost out of fuel. Has anyone found weapons? What's the plan with bare hands? Go hand to hand with monsters? Wu Di glanced over a few messages and closed the channel. The sharp drop in numbers was like a bucket of cold water dumped over him, a stark reminder that this highway survival was no game. Only 6 hours remained in the novice period. This was his last stretch of absolutely safe development time before encountering other players. Without further delay, Wu Di turned the key and started the engine. The upgraded blue engine emitted a low, steady rumble. While munching on a vacuum-packed marinated egg and taking a sip of water, he steadily increased the speed to 50 kilometers per hour, his gaze locked firmly on both sides of the road. But today, the supply crates seemed to have vanished completely. An hour passed. The odometer jumped forward 50 kilometers. The road stretched empty, glaringly so, not a single ghostly shadow in sight. Just as a sliver of unease began to stir in Wu Di's heart, a glint of metal reflection finally appeared in the center of the road ahead. He slowly pulled over to the side, confirmed the surroundings were safe, and reached out to press his hand against the crate. Ding! Black iron supply crate detected. Open? Open. A series of prompts popped up on the light screen. Obtained, Level 1 Vehicle Upgrade Blueprint ×1. Obtained, Military Tactical Dagger ×1, white quality. Obtained, metal block times 5. Obtained, rubber times 5. Obtained, plastic times 5. Woody's eyes lit up, and he immediately tapped open the vehicle upgrade blueprint. Level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint. Used to upgrade a Level 1 vehicle to a Level 2 vehicle. Upgrade requirements: Level 2 vehicle engine, met. Level 2 vehicle glass, met. Level 2 vehicle frame, not met. Seeing this line, everything became crystal clear to Woody. The engine and vehicle glass he had obtained yesterday were actually all prerequisites for a Level 2 vehicle. Only the vehicle frame was missing, and he had just happened to obtain the vehicle frame design blueprint yesterday. Back in the car, Woody immediately opened the blueprint. Vehicle frame design blueprint, green quality. Can craft a basic vehicle frame, improving vehicle durability and impact resistance. Crafting requirements: metal block times 20, rubber times 5, plastic times 5. Woody glanced at his inventory. Metal block 15, rubber 4, plastic 3. Adding the newly obtained metal block 5, rubber 5, plastic 5, the materials were instantly all accounted for. He hesitated for a moment, but ultimately decided not to use his talent on the blueprint. If the blueprint got promoted, its crafting requirements would likely skyrocket, potentially stalling the upgrade at this stage. Better to craft the finished product first, then enhance the product. Ding! Consume metal block times 20, rubber times 5, plastic times 5 to craft vehicle frame. Craft! Ding! Vehicle frame crafting complete. Vehicle frame, green quality, basic reinforced chassis, slightly improves overall vehicle performance, increases impact resistance, reduces damage from road surface wear. Without any pause, Woody directly activated his talent on the freshly crafted frame. Ding! Talent, rule breakthrough, activated. Vehicle frame, green quality, promoted by 1 tier. Vehicle frame, blue quality, high-strength alloy chassis. Significantly improves vehicle defense, durability, and stability. Greatly reduces damage from collisions and damaged road surfaces. Only 1 tier, Woody sighed softly, but it was enough. Install. As the word left his mouth, the entire van gave a slight shudder. The dust, rust, and scratches on the outer body receded like a tide. The old, deformed shell became smooth and sturdy again, the paint restored to a clean matte white. Inside, the worn-out seats, yellowed interior, and loose dashboard were all refurbished. The seats were plump and thickly padded, the door panels neat and tight, the seams sealed. At a glance, it was a brand-new standard-issue van, completely devoid of the previous feeling of being on the verge of falling apart. Woody touched the steering wheel, then tried the air conditioning vents. The fan blades turned, but no cool air came out. He guessed internally, functions like air conditioning probably required corresponding exclusive blueprints or parts to unlock. But at this moment, the core conditions for the Level 2 vehicle were all met. Woody took a deep breath, opened the Level 1 vehicle upgrade blueprint, and pressed the button that would determine his leap in capability. Ding! All conditions for upgrading from Level 1 to Level 2 vehicle detected. Proceed with upgrade. Confirm upgrade. Ding! Vehicle upgrade commencing. Vehicle cannot move during upgrade. Please wait patiently. 10%, 35%, 68%, 100%. Ding! Congratulations. Your Level 1 dilapidated van has been successfully upgraded to Level 2 standard van. Vehicle: Level 2 standard van. Top speed: 120 kilometers per hour. Parts: blue quality vehicle engine, blue quality crystallized bulletproof glass, blue quality high-strength alloy chassis. Note: Level 2 vehicle has unlocked basic stable structure, supporting installation of subsequent high-tier parts. Ding! Level 2 vehicle detected. System gift: fuel 50 liters times 1, stored in wristband space. Even giving fuel? Is the survival game this considerate? Looks like I won't be short on fuel for a while. Woody was momentarily stunned. After upgrading to the Level 2 vehicle, Woody noticed the overall vehicle hadn't changed at all, except the top speed increased to 120 kilometers per hour, and the fact that a Level 2 vehicle could install high-tier parts. Could it really be like those space farming systems in comics and novels? Woody felt a flicker of anticipation. With his talent, such things didn't seem too difficult to achieve. At this stage, Woody believed no one's progress was faster than his. Not only had he completed the Level 2 vehicle upgrade, but he also possessed a gold-quality vehicle accessory that increased luck. For now, water and food just need to meet basic needs. Judging from yesterday's experience, as long as I keep driving normally, I won't lack these things. I have a weapon, and fuel isn't an issue. Next is to keep searching for supply crates. If I can get another blue quality item today, and use my talent on it, could I obtain an item surpassing gold quality? I wonder what comes after gold quality. Thinking of this, Woody's heart stirred with excitement, feeling almost impatient to trigger it immediately. Chapter 11. Revelation of the Lucky Pendant. Woody calmed his excitement after leveling up. With only a little over 4 hours left in the novice period, he didn't dare to slack off. He started the vehicle and continued driving, seizing every minute and second to collect supplies. Just a few kilometers out, a metal box with a black iron luster appeared by the roadside. Woody slowly stopped the car, his eyes filled with surprise. This was actually a black iron supply crate. He couldn't help but recall the first black iron crate, hidden deep in the yellow sand, which he had only managed to obtain after exhausting most of his stamina and almost dehydrating. Yet this second one lay uncovered by the roadside, within arm's reach. Could it be that the refresh rate for high-quality supply crates has increased today? Woody's heart stirred, and he subconsciously opened the regional channel. Sure enough, many people in the channel were showing off. The number of people encountering bronze supply crates had clearly increased today, and some even posted the materials and food they obtained from bronze crates. But he didn't linger. The trading channel hadn't opened yet, so others' abundant gains had nothing to do with him. Instead of wasting time, it was better to focus on the journey. Back in the car, Woody took out the military tactical dagger he had just obtained, his fingertips caressing the cold blade. This dagger was of white quality. He thought for a moment, and then gave up the idea of using his talent to upgrade it. White quality had too low an upgrade value. Even if it was upgraded to green, it would only be an ordinary self-defense tool, far less useful than applying his talent to food or vehicle accessories that could directly enhance his survival capabilities. After all, upgraded ordinary food could also boost his basic attributes, making it much more practical than a common dagger. Putting away the dagger, Woody's gaze fell on the golden gourd pendant next to the center console, a hint of doubt rising in his heart. According to the current pattern, ordinary supplies corresponded to level 1, green supplies to level 2, and blue supplies to level 3. So this golden quality pendant should be a level 5 item. However, he hadn't encountered any level 4 items yet, so he didn't know what quality they corresponded to, nor was he sure if there were higher levels after level 5. These questions were unanswerable for now. Woody suppressed his thoughts, gripped the steering wheel, and continued on his way. The car was getting increasingly hot. Woody estimated the outdoor temperature had reached over 30 degrees Celsius, and with less than 4 hours until 12 p.m., when the novice period ended, time was growing increasingly tight. The vehicle drove steadily, and after another 20 kilometers, a fork in the road suddenly appeared. Both forks were identical, wide 3-lane asphalt roads extending into the distance to the end of the yellow sand, with no markings or any differences, making it impossible to determine the direction. Woody didn't get out of the car. He parked it in the center of the fork and observed repeatedly through the crystallized bulletproof glass. Choosing left or right concerned subsequent supply collection and survival safety, but he had no clues, and a hint of confusion and anxiety arose in his heart. Just as Woody was hesitating, the lucky pendant next to the center console suddenly glowed with a faint golden light. Its original gourd shape became somewhat transparent, and the soft light was particularly conspicuous inside the car. The next second, a strong intuition suddenly rose in Woody's heart: go right. This feeling was baseless, yet exceptionally firm. He remembered that this pendant was of golden quality, capable of significantly increasing the probability of high-quality material output and avoiding danger. Since it gave a hint, it was worth a try. Without further hesitation, Wu Di turned the steering wheel and drove into the right fork. He drove along the right road for nearly 2 hours without realizing it, and the time was almost 10 a.m. But along this 100-plus-kilometer stretch, the road was terrifyingly empty, let alone black iron or bronze supply crates. He hadn't even encountered a single ordinary supply crate. This broken gourd isn't going to trick me, is it? A hint of suspicion arose in Wu Di's heart, his tone full of helplessness. He drove a bit further, and as time gradually approached 11 a.m., he still had no harvest, and his inner anxiety grew stronger. Wu Di looked behind the car. Food and water were running low. If he couldn't find any more supply crates, once the novice protection period ended, facing unknown disasters and other survivors, his situation would become exceptionally difficult. Damn it, if I don't find anything by 12 o'clock, I'll smash this broken gourd. He looked at the pendant still faintly glowing on the center console and fiercely complained in his heart. Just as Wu Di was about to lose patience, and even considered turning back and changing roads, a glint of metal in the distance by the roadside suddenly caught his eye. Wu Di instantly perked up, stomped on the accelerator, and sped closer. After the car stopped, he noticed that this supply crate was subtly different from the ones he had encountered before. The box was larger. Its surface had a faint silver-white luster. The texture was heavier, and the patterns were more exquisite. It was clearly not an ordinary black iron or bronze-level supply crate. Could it be a higher-level crate? Wu Di's heart thumped. All his anxiety and dissatisfaction instantly vanished, replaced by a surge of ecstasy. He didn't get out of the car immediately. He first checked through the car window to ensure there were no anomalies around, then pushed open the car door and quickly walked to the supply crate, gently pressing his fingertips on its surface. Ding! Silver supply crate detected. Do you wish to open it? Open. Wu Di muttered in his heart with almost no hesitation. The light screen instantly displayed a prompt, with lines of supply information clearly presented. Obtained. Energy core ×1. Blue quality. Item description. A core vehicle accessory that provides stable energy for the vehicle. Can be used in place of fuel. A single use can meet the energy consumption of a Level 2 vehicle for 1 day. Usage requirement. Level 2 or higher vehicle. Obtained. Car air conditioner design blueprint ×1. Green quality. Item description. Can be used to craft a car air conditioner. After installation, it can adjust the temperature inside the car, crafting requirements, metal block ×2, plastic time zone, rubber ×1. Obtained. Instant noodles time zone box. Total 12 packs. Obtained. Mineral water ×5. 500 ml bottle. Looking at these gains, Wu Di was slightly surprised, judging from the previous black iron supply crate's haul. This silver supply crate only yielded 1 blue quality item, 1 green quality item, and some basic food and water. The quantity of supplies wasn't particularly large. But then he instantly felt relieved. These 2 core items were exactly what he most urgently needed and found most practical. The energy core could replace fuel, solving his fuel concerns. The car air conditioner design blueprint could free him from the oppressive heat inside the car. This was far more valuable than any amount of basic supplies. Wu Di put away the supplies and quickly returned to the car, his gaze once again falling on the lucky pendant. The dissatisfaction in his tone had long dissipated, replaced by a sense of relief. Good thing I trusted it just now, otherwise I might have missed this crucial harvest. Wu Di took out the energy core from his wristband space. It looks like a blue spherical object the size of a billiard ball. Is this black technology? Ding! Detectable vehicle accessory energy core. Install immediately. No, Wu Di didn't install it directly. He was pondering a question. Should I use talent effect 2 on this energy core? I'm not very short on fuel right now, and the 50 liters of fuel given by the system will cover today's and tomorrow's consumption. I won't install this for now. If I don't find anything better closer to 12 o'clock, then I'll use my talent on this energy core. After yesterday's experience, Wu Di clearly understood that the vehicle was the most important thing to him in this survival game, and energy was the core of the vehicle. Chapter 12. Infinite Energy. Wu Di packed away everything he had obtained from the silver supply crate, his gaze immediately falling upon the car air conditioner design blueprint. He raised his hand to tap open the light screen and carefully checked the crafting requirements. Metal block ×2. Plastic ×1. Rubber ×1. He had the plastic and rubber, but all the metal blocks had been used up just moments ago when crafting the vehicle frame. I need to find another supply crate quickly and see if I can get some metal blocks to craft the air conditioner. Wu Di wiped the sweat from his forehead. The temperature inside the van was stifling, and the breeze blowing in from outside was hot. If he kept going like this, even if he wasn't attacked by monsters, he would be dehydrated and exhausted by the high heat first. This survival game, it's so complicated. He couldn't help but complain in his heart. Aren't plastic and rubber just like industrial waste? Why divide them so finely? Complaining aside, Wu Di didn't slow down at all. He opened his wristband storage and moved all the water and food inside to the back seat of the van. Although the vehicle had been upgraded into a brand new Level 2 standard van with a completely refreshed exterior and interior, the back seat remained empty. It lacked the seats a regular van should have, featuring only a bare, flat, hard floor, as if specifically designed for storing supplies. The entire box of instant noodles he had just opened, the 5 bottles of mineral water, and the remaining compressed biscuits were all piled haphazardly in the corner of the back row. They weren't stacked neatly, but it was easy to see everything and convenient to grab. After organizing the supplies, Wu Di sat back in the driver's seat, started the van, and continued forward. With less than an hour left before the novice period ended at 12 p.m., every single minute and second was incredibly precious. Wu Di maintained a steady speed, his eyes fixed intently on both sides of the road, not daring to miss any reflective objects. After driving forward like this for about half an hour, a gray-black ordinary supply crate finally appeared on the previously empty and monotonous roadside. It wasn't eye-catching, but in Wu Di's eyes, it was the most pleasing thing he had ever seen. He slowly pulled over and stopped, not rushing to get out, first observing the surroundings through the crystallized bulletproof glass. Confirming it was safe, Wu Di pushed the door open, stepped out, walked quickly to the supply crate, and placed his hand on the box. Ding! Ordinary supply crate detected. Open it? Open. The light screen flickered, and 3 notifications popped up one after another. Obtained. Metal block ×5. Obtained. Goggles ×1. White quality. Obtained. Chocolate bar ×1 box. The moment he saw the metal blocks, Wu Di let out a long sigh of relief. Whatever he needed appeared. It was almost like a precision drop. Could it be that this gold-quality lucky pendant is actually working? He glanced back at the gourd pendant hanging from the center console inside the van. He had only been half skeptical before, but this series of coincidences made it impossible for him not to take it seriously. Whether it was or not, since the materials were now complete, he would craft the air conditioner first. Wu Di got back in the van, closed the door, and immediately took out the car air conditioner design blueprint from the storage. Ding! Car air conditioner design blueprint. Green quality detected. Crafting requirements: metal block ×2, plastic ×1, rubber ×1. All materials met. Confirm crafting? Yes. Ding. Vehicle air conditioner crafting complete. Vehicle air conditioner. Green quality. Type. Vehicle accessory effect. Once installed, it can adjust the temperature inside the vehicle between 16 deg, 30 deg. Supports cooling and ventilation. Side effect: vehicle fuel consumption increases by 10% after installation. Installable accessory detected. Install immediately. Wu Di looked at the prompt, his fingertip hovering in midair, not clicking immediately. No. He let out a soft breath and leaned back in his seat, falling into a brief moment of hesitation. Should he really use his talent to upgrade this air conditioner? Theoretically, the green quality air conditioner was enough. 16 degrees was sufficient to bring the temperature inside the van down, and it would have no problem handling the current high heat. But once upgraded, it might become blue quality, or even higher, with lower energy consumption and stronger effects. But the problem was, talent uses were limited. He had already used his talent once today to upgrade the vehicle frame. Was it worth using the remaining uses on a comfort accessory like an air conditioner? If he saved it for items like food that could directly improve his own attributes, it would be more beneficial for long-term survival. Wu Di was silent for a few seconds, his gaze gradually becoming firm. No rush to install, no rush to upgrade. Anyway, there's only half an hour left of the novice period. Once it hits 12, I'll see the situation and decide. He put the green vehicle air conditioner into storage first and started the van to continue forward. For the next 20 minutes, the road returned to being empty. Let alone high-quality crates. Not even a single ordinary supply crate appeared again. The time on the wristband inched closer to 12. Wu Di slowly pressed the brake, bringing the van to a steady stop in the middle of the road. The engine shut off, and the surroundings instantly fell into absolute silence. Heat waves poured in from outside the van, but he didn't care at all. He took a deep breath and took out the blue-quality energy core from his wristband storage. This was the most core and precious item he had obtained from the silver supply crate. It was also his biggest trump card at this moment. Wu Di stared at the core in his hand, which was emitting a faint blue glow, his heart rate accelerating slightly. He hadn't forgotten his talent, Rule Breakthrough, where Effect 2 could directly upgrade an item by 3 tiers. He hadn't used it yesterday because the cooldown time was too long. But using it on a vehicle core accessory like the energy core was definitely not a loss. I'll take a gamble. Wu Di's eyes narrowed, and he silently recited in his heart. Use talent, Effect 2 on the energy core. Ding, talent. Rule Breakthrough effect, 2 activated. Detection target, energy core, blue quality. Execution, 3-tier consecutive upgrade. Upgrade successful. Energy core, blue quality. Vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor, orange quality. A light, brighter than any before, flashed and vanished in his palm. The item panel popped open directly, the information glaringly clear. Vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor, orange quality, type. Vehicle accessory usage requirement, level 2 or above vehicle effect, provides infinite stable energy. Note, some loss will occur when paired with high-tier accessories. Wu Di stared at those words, his pupils slightly constricting. Infinite stable energy. Holy shit. He couldn't help but curse softly, his voice trembling slightly. Is this orange quality? It just turned it into infinite energy for me? He gripped the slightly warm nuclear reactor that was emitting a faint orange glow, his whole body tingling with excitement. He used to have fuel anxiety, but now he had leaped straight to the end, solving one of the most fatal resources on the survival road. As for the note at the end, Wu Di didn't care at all. High-tier accessories were not in the scope of his concerns right now. How could this still be road survival? This was simply a mythical start. Wu Di took a few deep breaths, forcing down his surging emotions. The time on the wristband had ticked to 12. Ding, survival game officially begins. Chapter 13, Crisis Descends. Sustained high temperature warning. Ding, the novice protection period has officially ended, and the highway survival mode is now fully active. Congratulations to all survivors who have successfully survived. Keep persevering, and you will obtain everything. Notice, extreme high-temperature weather has officially begun. Temperatures will continue to climb, and in 7 days, the next phase will commence. Please be prepared. System function updates. 1. Trading interface opened. Each person can trade 3 times per day. 2. Friend function opened, supporting private messages between friends. 3. Friends can view basic personal and vehicle information. You may choose whether to make this public. 4. Overlapping sections will appear on some highways, and monsters will spawn. The announcement wasn't long, but every point was critical. Wu Di finished reading word for word and was about to click on the communication channel when he suddenly noticed something wrong with the wristband interface. The original time display had vanished, replaced by a bright red 3-minute countdown. Currently, only 2 minutes remained. A countdown? Wudi's heart tightened. Before he could think further, the heat wave inside the car hit him again. Over the past 2 days, the temperature had already approached 40 degrees Celsius. The air was so dry and hot it was suffocating. Sticky sweat soaked his clothes, and even breathing brought a scorching pain. If even this level didn't count as high-temperature weather, then the upcoming official high temperatures would only be more terrifying. He couldn't wait any longer. Wu Dai immediately took the green quality vehicle air conditioner out of his warehouse, his gaze resolute. Using talent, rule breakthrough, effect 1, promotion. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, effect 1, is now active. Detecting target, vehicle air conditioner, green quality, triggering 30% probability of a second-tier promotion. Success. Vehicle air conditioner, green quality. Vehicle air conditioner, purple quality. Vehicle air conditioner, purple quality. Type, vehicle accessory. Effect, adjustable interior temperature from 12 degrees Celsius to 32 degrees Celsius. Cooling heating speed greatly increased. Real-time display of precise internal and external temperatures. Includes air purification function. Side effect, energy consumption increased by 15%. Requirement, level 2 or higher vehicle. It actually skipped 2 tiers. Wu Di was both surprised and delighted. The 30% probability had worked again. Ding, detectable accessory vehicle air conditioner, purple quality, found. Install? Install. Installation successful. Automatically adapted to the level 2 standard van. Almost at the same instant, a cool breeze gushed from the vents, quickly sweeping through the entire cabin. As for the line about energy consumption increased by 15%, Wu Di only gave a scoff. Do you know what nuclear energy is? A single air conditioner thinks it can drain my infinite energy? Wu Di closed all the car windows tightly and set the air conditioner to a constant 25 degrees Celsius. The coolness slowly spread, sweeping away the stuffiness, stickiness, and irritability as his skin became dry again. After enduring the sweltering heat for a day and a night, Wu Di finally experienced true comfort, and his tense nerves completely relaxed. Without time to think about anything else, his eyes remained fixed on the countdown on his wristband. 3, 2, 1, 0. In the next second, Wu Di felt his vision blur and distort, as if space was being gently folded. In a brief moment, the dizziness vanished, and his vision cleared. He was stunned. The world around him had completely changed. It was no longer that boundless, lifeless desert of yellow sand. The highway was still straight. But vegetation finally appeared on both sides. Clumps of unknown deep green shrubs, with sparse trees growing in the distance. Although it was still a vast wilderness, it now possessed a bit more of the breath of life. The map changed, Wu Di muttered to himself. He subconsciously glanced at the temperature display on his wristband and was slightly taken aback. Interior, 25 degrees Celsius. Exterior, 28 degrees Celsius. This is the high-temperature weather? It's cooler than before? Despite his confusion, Wu Di did not lower his guard. The announcement clearly stated that temperatures will gradually rise. The current comfort was most likely only temporary. In the coming days, this place would likely turn into a true purgatory. Thinking of this, he no longer hesitated and directly opened the regional communication channel. New version, new map, new functions, and monsters. He had to see immediately what the situation was like for the other survivors. Chapter 14. Vehicle Accessory Blueprints. Wu Di immediately opened the regional communication channel. Almost at the same instant, a dense flood of messages burst forth like a broken dam, frantically refreshing the screen. The speed was so fast that it was nearly impossible to read a complete sentence. The speed of his fingertips sliding could not keep up with the frequency of the pop-ups. He quickly adjusted the refresh rate to the slowest setting before he could barely manage to read the content of each message one by one. Is there anyone alive? Type A1 to let me know I'm not the only one. After the novice period ends, will we all be teleported together? Do you guys feel like it's getting cooler? What happened to the promised high-temperature weather? This is quite sudden. Did anyone see a car in the distance? I think I just caught a glimpse of a car driving past at the end of the highway. It was too fast to see clearly. Was it someone else? Brothers, are you all still there? I used to work at XX Company in XX City. My name is Zhang Wei. I was suddenly teleported here. I'm alone and scared to death now. Looking for a companion. Emergency request for fuel. Requesting fuel. I'm almost out. Does anyone have extra fuel? I'm willing to trade anything. Water, food, materials, anything goes. Also looking for fuel. I only have enough to run for 50 kilometers. If I don't find fuel, I'm done for. Can anyone help? Can someone tell me when the monsters will appear after the novice period? The system only said they would refresh, but didn't say where. Has anyone encountered a monster? Do any big shots know where we are? Just a moment ago it was yellow sand and Gobi Desert, but now the roadside is full of strange shrubs. The map changed way too suddenly. It really has gotten cooler. The system said the high temperature would last for 7 days. Will the temperature keep rising later? This crappy car doesn't even have air conditioning. Is anyone willing to spare some fuel? I have a blueprint for an ordinary dagger. Although it's not very useful, it's still a blueprint. Trading for 10 liters of fuel, any takers? It seems fuel has become a fatal shortcoming for most survivors, Woody thought. Looking at the chaotic information, Woody's expression didn't flicker in the slightest. He knew very well that in this life-or-death survival game, everyone was looking out for themselves. It was better to take care of himself first. Woody didn't waste time in the regional channel. He didn't speak to ask for help, nor did he show off his supplies. With a light swipe of his finger, he switched directly to the trading channel. What he wanted most right now was to see if there was anything that could improve his strength or perfect his vehicle. Upon entering the trading channel, Woody's eyebrows rose slightly. Looking across, the entire trading interface was almost monopolized by water and food. Out of 9 items on a page, 7 were basic survival supplies like water and food. The remaining 2 were just basic materials like metal blocks and plastic, all being traded for fuel. He flipped through several pages but couldn't see anything of value. Could there be blueprints and equipment? Woody's heart stirred. He lightly tapped the search bar of the trading interface and searched for weapons. Although he currently had a blue-quality automatic hand crossbow and a white-quality military tactical dagger, the hand crossbow relied on accuracy. In his past life, he was just an ordinary office worker and had never practiced shooting, so his aim was terrible. It might not be very effective when encountering monsters. The dagger required close-quarters life-and-death combat, and he hadn't been in a fight since he was a child, let alone having the courage to kill. If he truly encountered danger, the dagger might not be useful. If he could find a firearm in the trading channel, even if it was just an ordinary quality pistol, it would greatly increase his sense of security and give him more confidence when facing monsters and other survivors. However, the refreshed results left him completely disappointed. The weapons displayed on the page were all the most basic white quality, with not a single piece of green quality or higher. There were wooden sticks sharpened reasonably well, ordinary iron short swords, with thin blades prone to rusting, military tactical daggers identical to the one in his hand, and several iron wrenches that could barely serve as weapons. After flipping through over a dozen pages, they were all these basic weapons with no surprises, not even a single green quality weapon, let alone the firearms he was hoping for. They're all trash, not a single useful thing. It looks like my hand crossbow is considered high-end goods, Woody thought. Suddenly, Woody realized that this wasn't the web novel he used to read, nor was it a virtual game. This was real life-or-death survival. Weapons are the capital for survival. People with good weapons will only keep them tightly in their hands to fend off monsters and guard against other survivors. It's impossible for them to easily put them up for trade. I reckon the weapons people are willing to list on the trading channel are either things they can't use themselves, or things of extremely poor quality that are barely better than nothing. Truly good things won't appear here at all. Thinking of this, Woody stopped wasting time on weapons and began searching for blueprints. After all, if he couldn't find weapons, finding some practical blueprints, such as vehicle accessory blueprints or equipment blueprints, could also greatly enhance his survival capabilities. The trading interface refreshed instantly. With 9 items per page, there were less than 10 pages listed. Are blueprints this hard to come by? In a region of 100,000 people, there are less than 100 blueprints. A 1 in 1,000 drop rate is a bit exaggerated, Woody thought. After flipping through a few pages, his expression gradually darkened. These blueprints were almost all a bunch of useless household item blueprints. In the current desperate situation of high temperatures, rampant monsters, and fuel shortages, they were no different from trash. There was a simple wooden table blueprint which required wood materials. Once made, it could only be used to place things, having 0 survival value. There was a small storage box blueprint which could only store small supplies. It wasn't as convenient as just putting them on the back seat of the car. The only thing that caught his eye was a mini-fridge design blueprint, white quality. It required metal block X1, rubber X1, plastic X1, and a stable power source, while increasing vehicle fuel consumption by 5%. Its function was singular, only able to keep a small amount of food fresh at low temperatures. Without a stable energy source, it was essentially a decoration and a waste of precious crafting materials. Other players should be worried about energy issues right now, but I'm not. Should I trade for it? Woody thought as he checked the seller's requirement, which was 20 liters of fuel. I'll see if there are other good things first before deciding, Woody thought as he patiently flipped through page by page. Suddenly, reinforced off-road tire blueprint, green quality. Woody immediately clicked in to view the detailed information, reading every line of text exceptionally carefully. Reinforced off-road tire blueprint, green quality. Type, vehicle accessory. Crafting requirements, metal block ×2, rubber ×4. Effect. Upon completion, it can directly replace the original tires of a level 2 or higher vehicle. The tire material is upgraded to high-strength wear-resistant rubber, slightly improving puncture and wear resistance. Speed +10. Seller's request. Fuel ×50 liters. There really are good things. My level 2 car still has its initial tires. I don't know if they'll get damaged. Besides, I don't need fuel right now, and this thing can even increase the speed limit. It's useful, Woody rejoiced internally. But seeing the seller's requested exchange condition, 50 liters of fuel, Woody still frowned, a trace of helplessness appearing at the corner of his mouth. This price was indeed too high, even with the blessing of the golden lucky pendant. Throughout his journey of collecting supplies and completing the vehicle upgrade, the fuel given by the system plus what he got from supply crates only amounted to exactly 50 liters in stock. If he hadn't obtained the vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor, these 50 liters of fuel would be his entire net worth, his guarantee for continuing his journey and finding supplies. He would absolutely never have taken them out to trade for a single blueprint, but now he had already promoted the blue quality energy core to an orange quality vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor through the second effect of his talent rule breakthrough, gaining infinite stable energy. Fuel was no longer important to him. It was just a pile of useless idle supplies. Using idle fuel to trade for a blueprint that could significantly improve vehicle safety was definitely a winning deal. Woody no longer hesitated and clicked the private message seller button below the blueprint, quickly editing a message. 20 liters of fuel for your reinforced off-road tire blueprint. After sending the message, Woody waited for the other party's reply and stopped overthinking. Basic resources are insufficient. I'm not short of water and food in the short term. I need to hurry and set off. Woody checked the material inventory in his wristband warehouse. Metal block X3, plastic X3, rubber X2, and the 50 liters one fuel given by the system when he upgraded to a level 2 car. Closing the trading channel, he took a deep breath and started the vehicle. The upgraded level 2 standard van's engine gave a low and steady roar without any noise. The infinite energy provided by the vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor meant there were no concerns about fuel consumption, unlike other survivors who had to worry about running out of fuel at any moment. He subconsciously glanced at the temperature display on his wristband, and his pupils contracted slightly. The outside temperature had risen from 28 degrees Celsius just now to 29 degrees Celsius. In less than an hour, the temperature had risen by 1 degree. Wu Dai closed the car window. Is this the extreme high-temperature weather the system mentioned? It's only the first day, and the temperature is already rising. According to this trend, the temperature will only continue to climb over the next 7 days. How high will it get? 50 degrees Celsius would be enough to kill people. Wu Di thought about this question as he set off. Chapter 15, Wilderness Combat. The car is already level 2. I don't need to worry about energy, and I have weapons. I should consider the quality of life now. I'll trade for that mini-fridge design blueprint once I'm done with the tire blueprints. Wu Di leaned back in his seat, calculating silently. The infinite energy from the vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor removed his worries, and the vehicle had become increasingly stable after the upgrade. However, things had gone too smoothly, making him almost forget that this was a life-and-death survival game. Why haven't I encountered a supply crate yet? Wu Di glanced at his wristband. The numbers 1340 were particularly striking. He had been driving at a steady speed for over half an hour, his gaze never leaving the sides of the road. Yet the road remained empty. Aside from the dark green shrubs, there wasn't even a glint of metal. Did I drive too fast and miss it? Wu Di immediately let off the gas, reducing his speed from 70 kilometers per hour to 50 kilometers per hour. Relying on his lack of fuel concerns, he had been driving a bit fast before. Now he quickly straightened his back and stared intently at both sides of the road, fearing he might miss a supply crate hidden near the shrubs. Time passed slowly, and the time on the wristband approached 15. Has my luck run out? Wu Di glanced at the gourd. Just then, Wu Di saw a lone withered tree standing about 50 meters ahead on the left side of the road. Its thick trunk was bare, and its cracked, dark brown bark looked exceptionally desolate under the blazing sun. In the shadow of the withered tree, a grayish-black metal box lay quietly. It was the supply crate he had been searching for. But beside the supply crate lay a wolf-like creature, a size larger than an ordinary wolf. Wu Di stopped the car to observe and found that the wolf remained in a lying position. Is this the monster the system mentioned? It looks even bigger than a tiger. How am I supposed to get it? As a 30-year-old ordinary office worker, he squeezed onto subways from 9 to 5 and rushed reports. He hadn't even killed a chicken before. The wolves on TV were far less terrifying than the one before him. Its wild aura made him feel a bit apprehensive. No, I can't go. It's too dangerous. Wu Di subconsciously turned the steering wheel, wanting to drive closer along the road and use the vehicle as cover to get the supply crate. But before the car even left the road, a cold system notification sounded. Warning: vehicles are prohibited from leaving the road. Violations will trigger a penalty mechanism. Damn it, they're not giving me a chance at all. Wait, I have a hand crossbow. I don't need to get out and take risks. It shouldn't be able to break through the glass. He then looked at the automatic hand crossbow in the passenger seat. Its blue body shimmered with a cold light. The attribute, deals massive damage to large beasts, gave him a bit of confidence. Taking a deep breath, he forced himself to calm down and checked the automatic hand crossbow. The 20 bolts were intact. He parked the car on the side of the road closest to the withered tree to minimize the distance to the supply crate, while ensuring the car stayed on the road to avoid a violation. Wu Di opened the car window just enough to leave a gap to stick the hand crossbow through. Calm down. At this distance, even if I miss, there shouldn't be any danger, Wu Di thought. After aiming for a while, Wu Di pressed the trigger. With a swish, the bolt struck the tree dead center. I still have a chance. Out of 19 bolts, I can't possibly miss every single one, Wu Di thought. Just then, the wolf seemed to catch a strange scent. It snapped its head up, its amber eyes locking onto the vehicle. It let out a raspy, fierce growl, stood up, and arched its body into an attacking posture. Holy shit! Frightened, Wu Di immediately rolled up the window. Glancing through the glass, he saw the wolf slowly lie back down, seemingly having no intention to attack. Calm down, there's a chance. Come on, you can do this, Wu Di encouraged himself. After 5 consecutive shots that only outlined the target's silhouette, Wu Di was starting to break down. Damn it, this is so hard to use. I have 15 bolts left. I refuse to believe I won't hit it once, Wu Di said, feeling a bit annoyed. He aimed again and pulled the trigger. With a swish, the bolt flew toward the wolf's back with a sharp whistling sound. The bolt was incredibly fast, accurately hitting the wolf's back and sinking deep into its fur. Blood instantly began to seep out. "Ah-woo!" The wolf let out a shrill cry of pain, completely enraged. It lunged toward the road, covering half the distance in an instant as it pounced frantically toward the van. Wu Di instinctively recoiled and quickly rolled up the window, leaving only a tiny crack to observe. The wolf pounced at the edge of the road, frantically slamming into the car door. Its sharp claws left ear-piercing scratches, and the car body shook slightly. Wu Di forced himself to stay calm. During a gap in the wolf's attacks, he stuck the hand crossbow out again, aimed at the wolf's belly, and pulled the trigger. The second bolt hit. The wolf's assault weakened, but it still refused to give up, circling the car while growling and slamming into it, its claws occasionally swatting at the window gap. Suddenly, the wolf lunged upward, its claws swatting violently at the window gap. Wu Di instinctively pulled back the hand crossbow, his arm getting scratched by the wolf's claws, sending a jolt of stinging pain. Enduring the pain, he waited for the moment the wolf landed, aimed at its eye, and pulled the trigger. The bolt hit with precision. The wolf let out a heart-wrenching cry, convulsed a few times, and then fell silent. He waited for nearly 20 minutes to confirm the wolf was dead. Wu Di breathed a long sigh of relief. His strength spent, he slumped in the driver's seat, gasping for air. His heart pounded wildly, and his whole body trembled. He was still reeling from the narrow escape. He looked down at his arm. The wound wasn't too deep, with only a thin trail of blood seeping out. I won. Is this what a real survival game is like? Wu Di calmed his emotions. Wu Di pushed open the car door and warily scanned his surroundings. After confirming there was no danger, he walked quickly toward the supply crate. His fingertips touched the cold metal, but he didn't open it in a hurry. He bent down, picked up the supply crate, and hurried back to the van. Leaning back in his seat, he looked at the wilderness, the wolf's corpse, the wound on his arm, and the supply crate in the back seat. His heart filled with a mix of emotions. Because things had started so smoothly, he had gradually let his guard down and developed a sense of complacency. Now this battle had completely jolted him awake. This was a cruel life-and-death battlefield. You only had one life, and there was no room for luck. He was just an ordinary office worker without exceptional skills or survival experience. He had survived this long entirely on luck, talent, and his vehicle. But luck wouldn't always favor him. No matter how strong a talent was, carelessness would lead to failure. If he had been just a little less careful just now, he would have been the one lying dead. I can never be careless again, Wu Di warned himself, his gaze becoming more determined. This game was crueler than he had imagined. He had to remain vigilant at all times and use his resources to increase his strength. I must survive, and I'll live better than anyone else. After calming down, Wu Di got out of the car again to look at the corpse lying outside. It was a size larger than a normal wolf, covered in dark gray fur that was coarse and messy, stained with some dirt and grass. Its limbs were thick and powerful, and its claws were sharp and keen. Ding, decomposable item detected. Decompose? Wu Di, who had just reached out to inspect it, was shocked by the interface that popped up from his wristband. It really is just like a game. Decompose. Obtained 80 units of wolf meat. Wolf meat, green quality. Consumption can slowly restore physical strength and spirit. Note: 1 unit is approximately equal to 1 jinn. Chapter 16. A surprising harvest. The vehicle air conditioner continued to pump out a refreshing cool breeze, completely sealing off the scorching heat from outside. Wu Di leaned back in the comfortable driver's seat. In this rare sense of coolness and security, his racing heart finally slowed down. He took a deep breath, closed his eyes for a brief rest, and when he opened them again, the panic in his eyes had faded, replaced by his usual clarity. The fight from moments ago was still vivid in his mind, and the wound on his arm throbbed with a dull ache, but all that was in the past. Now it was time to reap the rewards of battle. "Let's see what I got this time." Wu Di raised his hand and tapped open the wristband's warehouse interface. His gaze immediately landed on a pile of fresh meat. This was the loot dropped after killing that wolf-like monster, and its quality was clearly displayed as green. Green quality wolf meat. Wu Di gently rubbed his chin with his fingertip, immediately thinking of the bottle of blue physique strengthening agent he had drunk before. Just one bottle had increased his permanent physique from 8 points to 9. He remembered the sense of power and the boost in reaction speed that single point of increase had brought. In this survival world where one could face monsters at any moment, attributes were the foundation of survival. His physique was currently only 9 points, not even reaching the 10-point baseline for an ordinary adult. If he encountered danger again, relying solely on his vehicle and weapons wouldn't be secure enough. A blue-quality potion can add attributes. After this green wolf meat is enhanced by my talent, it'll be blue at the very least, and maybe it can increase my physique too. At this thought, a flicker of anticipation flashed in Wu Di's eyes. As long as he could steadily increase his physique, his chances of surviving in this wilderness would multiply. However, he didn't act immediately. His gaze shifted to the metal box on the back seat. He turned and pulled the box into his arms. Its heavy weight felt exceptionally reassuring. This was the supply he had risked injury to obtain. During the tense battle earlier, it had been covered in dust and blood, and he hadn't had time to look closely. Now, as he wiped away the surface grime, a faint silver-white luster shimmered from the edges of the box. Thinking about how his arm had been injured for this box, Wu Di felt both expectant and nervous. He muttered softly, "If I don't get anything good out of this injury will be a huge loss." He took a deep breath, calmed his emotions, and lightly touched the box. Ding! Silver supply crate detected. Open it? Yes. As the words left his mouth, the silver supply crate instantly dissolved into countless specks of light, and 3 items appeared steadily in his warehouse slots. Obtained, energy core ×1, blue quality. Obtained, shadow blade pistol ×1, green quality. Obtained all-purpose seasoning powder ×1, white quality. Only 3 items? Wu Di was slightly stunned. The quantity was less than he expected. But when he saw the second item clearly, his pupils suddenly constricted, and his breathing involuntarily quickened. A pistol, a real firearm. On this post-apocalyptic highway where monsters roamed and human hearts were unpredictable, the significance of a firearm far surpassed any cold weapon. The automatic hand crossbow he had before had decent power, but it was bulky and extremely inconvenient for close-quarters reactions. A pistol, however, was a trump card that could instantly flip the script on life and death. Wu Di immediately clicked for details. Shadow blade pistol, green quality, a high-precision semi-automatic pistol, comes with magazine time zone, 15 rounds per mag. Finally, my safety is guaranteed. Wu Di let out a long breath of murky air, his clenched fists trembling slightly. With this pistol, even if he encountered a single monster or a small group, he would have the capital to maneuver and counterattack. He would no longer have to rely solely on his vehicle for passive defense. Wu Di quickly calculated his talent uses in his head. He had already used it twice today to enhance the vehicle frame and the vehicle air conditioner, leaving 3 uses of rule breakthrough. The Shadow Blade pistol was green quality with huge potential, so it had to be enhanced. The wolf meat was related to his physique increase, so he couldn't let it slide either. For the final use, Wu Di decided to wait until tonight to see how things went before making a decision. Having made up his mind, Wu Di no longer hesitated and focused his mind on the pistol in the warehouse. Use talent, rule breakthrough, upgrade. Ding, talent, rule breakthrough, in effect. Target item detected. Triggered 30% probability of Tier 2 upgrade success. Item, Shadow Blade Pistol, has been upgraded to Shadow Pistol, purple quality. A deep purple light flashed across the interface, and the pistol icon completely transformed. Wu Di couldn't wait to check the new attributes. Shadow pistol, purple quality. A high-precision semi-automatic pistol equipped with an advanced silencer. Comes with magazine time zone, 15 rounds per mag. Recovers 1 bullet per hour. Isn't this just infinite ammo? Wu Di couldn't help but exclaim softly. After calming his mood, Wu Di turned his gaze to the pile of wolf meat. Wolf meat. Upgrade. Ding. Talent. Rule breakthrough. In effect, item upgraded by 1 tier. Item, wolf meat, has been upgraded to reinforced wolf meat, blue quality. He clicked on the details, and a line of text made his heart race again. Reinforced wolf meat, blue quality. Consuming 1 unit can permanently increase physique by 1 point. Limited to 1 consumption per day. No upper limit on total usage. Just as I thought. A look of intense surprise erupted in Wu Di's eyes. Permanent +1 physique once a day. He had a full 80 units in his warehouse. Although he couldn't eat them all at once, as long as he had time and ate them for dozens of days straight, his physique would easily leave all ordinary survivors in the dust, and he would truly become a Superman, step by step. 80 points of physique. As long as I play it safe and steady, I will be a powerhouse on this highway. A pity I can only enhance 1 unit of wolf meat at a time. It would be great if I could enhance them all at once. Finally, he checked the all-purpose seasoning powder. White quality. A seasoning developed by the 13 Fragrances group. Full of color, aroma, and taste. Uses, 50/50. Good stuff. It's perfect for roasting wolf meat. Wu Di took a deep breath, forcing down his excitement. He knew very well that the more he was in a situation like this, the more he needed to stay calm. He glanced at the time on his wristband, 16:20. He had actually stayed here for over an hour. Wu Di suddenly sat up straight, realizing things were bad. After the novice period ended, the danger level of the night skyrocketed, and monster activity surged. He had to find a safe place to stay the night before dark. He glanced at the temperature again. It was a constant 24 degrees Celsius inside the car, but outside it had already soared to 35 degrees Celsius. It was only 28 degrees Celsius when he first entered this area, meaning it had jumped 7 degrees in just half a day. Wu Di didn't dare imagine how terrifying the extreme heat would be in 7 days. "Can't delay any longer. Let's go." Wu Di started the car. The vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor ran almost silently, providing a continuous stream of infinite power. He lightly gripped the steering wheel. A slight pain came from the wound on his arm, but it only made him more alert. This injury was worth it. Chapter 17. Is this how supply crates refresh? Wu Di placed the shadow pistol, which had just been promoted to purple quality, on the passenger seat. A faint purple light flowed across the gun's body, low-key yet exuding an intimidating sense of pressure. The blue automatic hand crossbow that had accompanied him through his most dangerous moments was gently placed in a corner of the back seat. "Old partner? It's not that I don't cherish our past, it's just that the times are advancing too fast." Wu Di lightly patted the steering wheel, his tone carrying a bit of relaxed banter. "With this thing, you can be considered officially and honorably retired. It looks like most supply crates refresh in relatively open and conspicuous positions. As long as I observe carefully, I basically won't miss them," Wu Di summarized in his mind while driving steadily. Now that he had a gun, a car, and infinite energy, his confidence was much greater than before, and his mindset had gradually shifted from the previous tense survival to a bit more composure. The car drove forward for about 20 minutes, when a familiar metallic glint flashed by in the roadside bushes. Wu Di gently stepped on the brakes, brought the car to a steady stop, and carefully observed the surroundings through the crystallized, bulletproof glass. This area was unusually quiet, with not even the sound of insects to be heard, and there were no traces of monster guardians. "So polite this time? Not even a gatekeeper?" Wu Di raised an eyebrow with a smile, pushed open the car door and walked over quickly. Ding, common supply crate detected. Open it. Open. With a flash of light, 4 items appeared in the storage slots. Obtained quick frozen dumplings 500 grams time zone. Obtained self-heating rice time zone portion. Obtained Pepsi Cola 500 milliliters times 12. Obtained metal block times 5. Seeing the cola and quick frozen dumplings, his Adam's apple unconsciously bobbed. In the less than 2 days since arriving in this apocalyptic world, he had been relying on compressed biscuits and purified water to stave off hunger. His mouth was so bland he had almost lost his sense of taste. Seeing normal food and drinks at this moment, an uncontrollable surge of excitement welled up in his heart. Good heavens, the system finally found its conscience for once. Wudi lamented in his heart. Before, it could only be called barely surviving. Now these things were the food a normal person should eat. I must treat myself tonight. Roasted wolf meat with self-heating rice and another can of cola. Just thinking about the scene, the corners of Wudi's mouth couldn't help but turn up. This is what you call living. Back in the car, Wudi began to organize his resources. The food wasn't bulky, so he stacked it directly on the back seat to avoid taking up precious storage slots. He opened the wristband storage and took stock of his current inventory. Metal block times 8. Plastic times 3. Rubber times 2. Wolf meat, green, times 89. Reinforced wolf meat, blue, time zone. Energy core, blue, times 1. Out of 10 storage slots, 6 were already in use. The storage slots were clearly starting to get tight. If he opened some equipment or something later, he might face the awkward situation of not having enough space. He hadn't found a way to expand the storage yet, so he could only clear space himself for now. I need to clear out the basic materials, Wudi decided immediately. With a thought, he took out all the metal block, plastic, and rubber. The next second, a magical scene appeared. The large amount of materials that had taken up slots in the storage were automatically compressed into Rubik's cube-sized blocks upon being taken out, stacked neatly on the back seat. This system even comes with compression technology? Wudi picked up a piece and weighed it, finding it novel. If this technology could be used in daily life, it would be so much more convenient. After freeing up 3 slots, there were 7 empty spaces left in the storage. Wudi calculated in his head that the supply crates he had opened so far yielded at most 4 or 5 items, so 7 empty spaces were enough. Having finished organizing, Wudi continued on his way. To his surprise, the refresh frequency of the supply crates was even more exaggerated than he had expected. In less than another 20 minutes of driving, another common supply crate appeared by the roadside. Wudi skillfully parked, opened the crate, and collected the resources. As the time approached 18, Wudi had already encountered 4 supply crates in a row. Although they only contained common resources like water, food, and basic materials, this stable rhythm of replenishment was exceptionally reassuring. The sky gradually darkened. Wudi glanced at his wristband, 1740. It's about time to find a place to spend the night. Wudi slowed down and scanned the surroundings. His vision still showed an endless wilderness, continuous shrubs, and the highway stretching forward. No buildings, no safe zones, only pure wilderness. If there's no safe point, then I'll set up defenses on the spot. Wudi chose a section of the road with an open view and parked the car steadily in the middle of the highway, turning off the engine while leaving only the vehicle air conditioner running. Wudi picked up a can of cola and pulled the tab with his fingertip. Shh! The sound of rising bubbles was exceptionally clear in the silent car. He tilted his head back and took a large gulp. The icy liquid slid down his throat, instantly dispelling most of the heat and fatigue. Letting out a hearty burp, Wudi looked out the window at the slowly sinking sunset, his gaze becoming slightly solemn. The night is coming. Even with the shadow pistol, the car upgraded to level 2, and infinite energy, he still didn't dare to underestimate the night. On the first night after the novice period ended, over 6,000 people had disappeared from the regional channel. That string of cold numbers was the cruelest warning. But tonight is different. Wu Di patted the pistol on the passenger seat and looked back at the food in the back seat, a confident smile curling his lips. With a gun and food, a car and air conditioning, even if monsters dare to come, they'll have to ask my bullets for permission first. He checked the temperature. 24 degrees Celsius inside the car, 40 degrees Celsius outside. The sun was about to set, yet the temperature was still rising. Wu Di checked the resources he had just obtained. Obtained electronic component times 6. Obtained flour 500 grams times sewn. Obtained mineral water 500 milliliters times 12. Obtained glass times 3. Obtained metal block tungsten. Obtained rubber times 5. Obtained 1 set of cooking utensils. New materials have appeared again, glass and electronic components. It looks like the demand for these materials will be high later. What surprised Wu Di was the set of cooking utensils. He had just been thinking about how to handle the wolf meat. As usual, Wu Di put everything in the back of the car and then took out the kitchenware. So this is a set of cooking utensils. Wu Di looked at the set of pots, bowls, ladles, and basins, along with a pair of chopsticks and a fork in front of him, feeling a bit speechless. After putting the things away, Wu Di checked the time. It was only a few minutes away from 18. He locked the car doors and prepared to wait for the night. However, as time passed, it was already 18:10, and the system had yet to pop up a notification. The weather outside didn't rapidly turn dark after 18 like yesterday either. He could still see the road clearly. Is there no danger tonight, or? Wu Di was a bit unsure of the situation. He looked at the communication channel. Everyone was discussing it. What's the situation? Has it gone dark where you are? It's still like daytime here. The system hasn't given a prompt either. Is there no danger tonight? Is there a possibility that the system just let us adapt yesterday during the novice period? I bet danger will definitely appear at night, everyone. Protect yourselves. Is there any kind-hearted brother who can help me? Give me some food and water, please. Could this be the most realistic survival game? Will even danger prompts gradually become fewer in the future? Wu Di thought to himself. Chapter 18, Blueprint obtained. The first half of last night was peaceful, until movement started outside during the latter half. Even if monsters attack tonight, I have enough confidence to handle them, Wu Di thought, glancing at the shadow pistol resting on the passenger seat. The vehicle air conditioner continuously pumped out a cool breeze, keeping the temperature steady at 24 degrees Celsius. Combined with ample food and a vehicle with infinite energy, Wu Di's current sense of security was enough to crush over 99% of the survivors in this area. Wu Di shook his head, paying no attention to the rustling outside the window. For him right now, the most important thing was to treat himself well and eat a truly hot meal. I need to find some firewood to roast the meat. Wu Di picked up the shadow pistol, pushed open the car door, and carefully inspected the surroundings. After confirming there were no signs of monster activity within 100 meters, he walked to the roadside and bent down to pick up dry shrub branches. Before long, he carried back a large bundle of dry twigs and piled them by the side of the highway. This should be enough. Wu Di wiped the sweat from his forehead and looked up at the temperature display on his wristband. The outside temperature was still as high as 40 degrees Celsius. The road surface, baked by the scorching sun all day, would normally be estimated at 70 degrees, but perhaps due to the materials or the nature of this alien world, Wu Di estimated it was only around 50 degrees. Even so, standing outside for just a few minutes brought a suffocating sensation of being steamed and roasted. However, the high temperature didn't affect his mood for a good meal at all. After years as an office worker, he had long realized a truth. No matter how great the environmental pressure, one must learn to relax properly. If the mind is constantly tense, once the accumulated pressure reaches a certain point, the eventual collapse will only be more tragic. In this game of life and death survival, maintaining a steady mindset is just as important as having great strength. Besides, if I can't even eat well, what's the point of this survival? Wu Di comforted himself. He took out the mini lighter he had found earlier. With a light flick of his finger, a pale blue flame instantly ignited, and the dry shrubs were quickly set ablaze. He took out the blue quality reinforced wolf meat from his storage. Using the military tactical dagger he had obtained before, he sliced the wolf meat into even chunks, carefully skewered them onto the dagger, and sprinkled on some all-purpose seasoning powder found in a regular supply crate. Wu Dai placed the skewered wolf meat by the fire to roast slowly while opening the recently acquired self-heating rice, adding water according to the instructions to wait for it to heat up. Between the ambient heat and the roasting fire, the temperature outside was terrifyingly high. Sweat constantly seeped from Wu Dai's forehead, and the clothes on his back were already soaked. It took a full 30 minutes for the wolf meat to be roasted until it was charred on the outside and tender on the inside. Fat slowly dripped from the meat, making a sizzle sound as it hit the fire. A rich, meaty aroma instantly filled the air, making one's appetite soar. "If I stay out here any longer, I'm going to be roasted well done by the heat myself." Wu Di quickly picked up the steaming, self-heating rice and the roasted wolf meat, then hurried back into the cool interior of the car. The moment he closed the door, he let out a long sigh of relief, as if he had just escaped from a sauna. Sitting in the driver's seat, enjoying the comfortable air conditioning while eating fragrant roasted meat and hot rice, Wu Di's mood was exceptionally relaxed. The happiness brought by this contrast was stronger than any material enjoyment. While eating dinner, Wu Di casually opened the regional communication channel to see how other survivors were doing. As soon as he entered the channel, an unread private message notification popped up. It was the seller of the enhanced off-road tire blueprint he had messaged earlier. Wu Di's eyes lit up. He immediately put down his rice and clicked on the chat box. 40 units of fuel. I went through a lot of trouble to get this. There's no way I'm giving it to you for 20 units. 30 units of fuel, that's my highest offer. You haven't sold it all day, so you should know that while this thing is useful, nobody is going to trade fuel for it right now, Wu Di replied. After the message was sent, the other party didn't reply for a long time. Wu Di stopped paying attention and turned to browse the information in the communication channel instead. By the time he finished eating and cleaned up the car's interior, he looked at his wristband again and found that the other party had finally replied. 30 units is fine for the trade, but I hope if you have extra fuel later, you can prioritize trading with me. I can use other blueprints to swap. The corners of Wu Di's mouth curled up slightly. Everything was within his expectations. The other party had compromised and even tried to establish a long-term contact. Establishing a stable trading relationship was also a good choice. Deal. Let's trade. Without any hesitation, Wu Di confirmed the transaction. Transaction successful. Obtained reinforced off-road tire design blueprint ×1. The moment the system notification popped up, the blueprint appeared in his storage. Wu Di took a look. Requirements: metal block ×2, rubber ×4. He had enough materials, so he crafted it immediately without hesitation. Crafting successful. Use talent, rule breakthrough, to promote the enhanced off-road tire. Ding talent, rule breakthrough activated. Item promoted by 1 rank. Enhanced. Off-road tire has been promoted to heavy-duty explosion-proof off-road tire, blue quality. With a flash of light, the new attributes appeared before his eyes. Heavy-duty explosion-proof off-road tire, blue quality. Type, vehicle accessory. Effect, tire strength significantly increased, immune to ordinary puncture and cutting damage, can withstand small firearms, reduces the impact of high heat and extreme cold, speed +30. Even though it didn't promote to rank 2, it should be enough for now. Wu Di nodded in satisfaction. Detected that the vehicle accessory can be installed directly. Install now? Yes. As soon as Wu Di spoke, the blue tire accessory turned into a stream of light and instantly merged beneath the vehicle. The entire process was without vibration or any unusual sound. In just 1 second, the system notification rang out again. Installation complete. Heavy-duty explosion-proof off-road tire has been equipped to the vehicle. Vehicle, Level 2 standard van. Top speed, 150 km/h. Vehicle accessories items. lucky pendant. Gold, vehicle engine. Blue, crystallized bulletproof glass. Blue, high-strength alloy chassis. Blue, heavy-duty explosion-proof off-road tire. Blue, vehicle air conditioner. Purple, vehicle-mounted nuclear reactor. Orange. It should meet the upgrade standards for a level 2 vehicle now. I just don't know when I'll get the upgrade blueprint, Wu Di thought. He then pushed open the car door and stepped out to inspect it carefully. The change in the newly replaced tires compared to before was very obvious. The tread was thicker, the patterns deeper and denser, and the glossy black rubber material exuded a sense of hardness. It looked full of security. After finishing the inspection, Wu Di returned to the car in satisfaction. He remembered the mini-fridge design blueprint he had been thinking about earlier. That was a key item for improving quality of life. Since he didn't lack fuel, he might as well trade for it now. Wu Di opened the trading house, found the seller of the mini-fridge design blueprint, and sent a private message. 10 units of fuel for your mini-fridge design blueprint. Message me if you want to trade. Almost instantly after the message was sent, the other party replied, their tones sounding exceptionally respectful. Okay, boss, let's trade now. Good. Wu Di didn't hesitate. He knew very well that at this stage, something like a mini-fridge was useless to most survivors. Instead, it would only increase fuel consumption. Given that most people were short on fuel, nobody should be interested in it. Only someone like him, who wasn't worried about energy consumption at all, would be willing to trade fuel for such a luxury. That was why the seller didn't hesitate at all. Transaction successful. Obtained. Mini-fridge design blueprint ×1. Only 10 units of fuel left. I actually didn't find a single drop of fuel today. Looking at the new blueprint in his storage, Wu Di chose not to craft it immediately. He had a lingering doubt. If he used his talent to strengthen a blueprint first, and then crafted it, could he strengthen the finished product again? This mini-fridge design blueprint was perfect for testing this crucial question. Use talent, rule breakthrough, to promote the mini-fridge design blueprint. Ding talent, rule breakthrough activated. Item promoted by 1 rank. Mini-fridge design blueprint has been promoted to refrigerator design blueprint, green quality. Effect, vehicle item, comes with 10 slots of refrigerated storage space, limited to storing ingredients and drinks. Fuel consumption increases by 10%. Crafting requirements, metal block ×5, rubber time zone, plastic time zone, electronic component time zone. Only promoted by 1 rank. It doesn't matter. I'm just using this for testing anyway. I'll keep it for now and test it once I have sufficient resources. Wu Di put the blueprint away. Reinforced tires obtained, vehicle upgraded again, and the mini-fridge design blueprint was in his pocket. All goals achieved. Leaning back in the comfortable seat, he glanced at the time, 20:03. He picked up the shadow pistol, gently wiped the gun body, and quietly waited for the arrival of the night. Chapter 19. Murderous Intent in the Night. The night grew thicker, and the highway resembled a black ribbon completely swallowed by the boundless darkness. From time to time, rustling sounds came from the distant bushes, reminding Wu Di that murderous intent lurked beneath the calm. The shadow pistol was right by his hand. Wu Di leaned back in his seat, and had just opened the regional channel when he received a friend request from the player who had traded the tire blueprint earlier. Player Su Wanwan requests to add you as a friend. Wu Di tapped to accept. In this survival world, a stable source of blueprints was far more important than temporary resources. Big shot, thank you for being willing to trade with me. I'm Su Wanwan. No need to be polite, we both got what we needed. If you have more blueprints, I can keep buying them from you long term, Wu Di replied. Meanwhile, inside a dilapidated van, Su Wanwan was curled up on a seat. She had just turned 20 and was a university student. She was pretty and sweet, with clear almond eyes, fair skin, a delicate nose, and soft long hair draped casually over her shoulders. She was the recognized department beauty at her school. But in this apocalypse, good looks offered no advantage at all. Su Wanwan looked at the chat, her heart feeling both sour and bitter. She had listed her item all afternoon, and many people had asked, but the highest anyone was willing to offer in exchange for fuel was 10 units. Wu Di was the only one who offered 20 units. She had originally planned to negotiate the price further, but she didn't expect Wu Di to only reply at night. As a girl with no strength to even truss a chicken, her only advantage was that she could consistently obtain blueprints. But blueprints couldn't be traded for safety. They were just a pile of scrap paper. She hadn't expected the deal to close at 30 units. Su Wanwan took a deep breath. Big shot. I can consistently get blueprints. If you can keep providing me with fuel in the future, I'll prioritize trading all my blueprints to you. After sending it, her heart pounded nervously, fearing a rejection. When Wu Di saw the message, his eyes lit up slightly. A stable source of blueprints. This was incredible news. He replied immediately, "Sure. As long as the blueprints are suitable, fuel is not a problem." Fuel was useless to him now, and being able to exchange it for a steady stream of blueprints was a massive profit. Seeing the reply, Su Wanwan's tense body relaxed instantly. "Thank you, Big Shot." After a brief exchange, Wu Di closed the chat interface. One can never truly know another's heart. Cooperation was one thing, but he couldn't let his guard down. He checked the time. It was nearly midnight. According to yesterday's pattern, the latter half of the night was when monsters were most active. Wu Di sat up straight, his gaze alert. He picked up the shadow pistol, checked the magazine, and waited quietly. Midnight arrived. After waiting for a long time, there was no movement in the darkness. Is it safe tonight? Wu Di was full of doubt. He had just opened the communication channel to see how others were doing. Suddenly, a private chat interface popped up. It was Su Wanwan, her tone filled with despair and panic. "Big Shot. Help. A monster is attacking me. I don't have a weapon, and I can't hold on much longer. Please help me. I'll give you the next blueprint. Please." The messages came one after another, the fear almost overflowing from the screen. Wu Di frowned, falling into hesitation. He could indeed give her the hand crossbow, but they were unrelated, just trading partners who had just met. However, according to Su Wanwan, she could consistently produce blueprints. Although he wasn't sure if what she said was true, that green blueprint was indeed rare. In just a few seconds, an intense struggle took place in his heart. Finally, he took a deep breath and made a decision. Wu Di picked up the idle blue, automatic hand crossbow, and the remaining 10 bolts, trading them to Su Wanwan for free. "I'm giving you the hand crossbow. Use it sparingly and aim before you fire." This was all he could do. The rest was up to her. At the same time, inside Su Wanwan's car, the car body shook violently from the monster's impact, and the deafening noise terrified her. She trembled all over, tears flowing uncontrollably, thinking she was doomed. Just then, a system notification suddenly rang out. "Ding player Wu Di has traded to you. Automatic hand crossbow ×1. Blue quality, with bolts ×10." Su Wanwan was completely stunned. No conditions, no demands, no threats. The other party had just given her a high-quality weapon for free. A warm current instantly washed away all the fear in her heart. In this world where everyone only cared about their own survival, someone was actually willing to lend a helping hand to a stranger they had never met. Looking at Wu Di's profile picture, tears welled up in her clear almond eyes again, but this time they were tears of gratitude. "Thank you. Big Shot. I definitely won't die." Su Wanwan gritted her teeth and clumsily but firmly raised the hand crossbow, aiming at the car door. 10 minutes later, she narrowly killed the monster and slumped onto the seat, gasping for air after the narrow escape. The way she looked at Wu Di's profile picture was filled with gratitude, reliance, and a quietly growing affection. Wu Di didn't know Su Wanwan's thoughts. After the trade was completed, he simply continued his vigilant watch until he drifted off to sleep. The roars of the night gradually subsided, and the most dangerous period finally passed. Dawn broke. Chapter 20, The Second Day Begins. At 5:40 a.m., as a faint layer of fish belly white just began to appear on the horizon, Wu Di suddenly jolted awake. This can't go on. No time to rest during the day and poor rest at night. I'll break sooner or later. I have to find a solution, Wu Di thought. Wu Di slowly sat up, subconsciously stretching his limbs and rotating his neck. Based on past experience, spending the night in the cramped space of a car, no matter how comfortable the seat, would inevitably lead to a stiff back and aching muscles upon waking. But today, that expected soreness was completely absent. In its place was a sense of lightness and abundant power surging from every bone and limb, as if every cell in his body had been reactivated. Is this the effect of the physique upgrade? Wu Di couldn't help but mentally compare the difference between before and after the transmigration. Before, he had spent years sitting in an office with a lack of exercise. A stiff neck and shoulders were the norm. Climbing 3 flights of stairs would leave him panting, and staying up for one night would leave him exhausted for days. But now, after just one night of rest in a sleeping environment that was far from perfect, his mental and physical state was more full and exuberant than after any long holiday in the real world. Wu Di immediately tapped the wristband screen. The personal attributes interface appeared clearly. Name Wu Di. Physique 10. Spirit 13. Seeing that row of numbers, the corners of Wu Di's mouth curled up slightly, revealing a faint, almost imperceptible smile. As expected, his physique had steadily risen from 9 points to 10 points. That portion of reinforced wolf meat I ate yesterday really didn't disappoint. If he continued at this rate, as long as supplies kept up, his physical fitness would eventually far exceed the limits of ordinary humans. Physique at 10 points. I've finally reached the baseline for an average adult male, Wu Di whispered to himself. He casually closed the light screen. Wu Di pushed open the car door and stepped out slowly. The morning air carried a hint of coolness, yet it could no longer hide the climbing temperature. He walked around the car, inspecting it thoroughly without missing a single detail. The car body was intact, its metal shell gleaming with a cold, hard luster in the morning light. Not even a single new scratch had been added to the small ones left from yesterday's exploration. The ground was clean and tidy, with no blood, no monster remains, and no claw marks. Wu Di's brow furrowed slightly. Strange. Su Wanwan clearly encountered an attack last night, and the regional channel was a chorus of wailing. Why was there absolutely no movement on my end? According to the system's previous announcement, after the novice period protection ends, monster activity at night increases significantly, and the level of danger explodes geometrically. On the regional channel last night, the number of survivors dropped by over 10,000 in a single night. This meant that the vast majority of survivors had encountered fatal attacks in the dark. As for himself, aside from vaguely hearing a few distant strange noises during the first half of the night, he had slept peacefully through the second half, without even waking up once. Is it the danger evasion effect of the lucky pendant taking effect? Wu Di quickly deduced in his mind, but couldn't reach a definitive answer. This extraordinary tranquility, rather than making him relax his guard, made the taut string in his heart tighten even further. In this highway survival, only by constantly becoming stronger, constantly hoarding resources, and constantly improving one's strength could survival be guaranteed. After the inspection was complete, and he confirmed the vehicle and surroundings were temporarily safe, Wu Di returned to the car and closed the door, sealing out the gradually heating air. He didn't set off immediately, but instead tapped open the regional channel. He needed to know what the situation was for the other survivors after last night. The messages in the channel were still refreshing at a speed barely discernible to the naked eye, with dense text scrolling incessantly. It's over, it's all over. I almost died there last night. 3 monsters like wild dogs were slamming into my car door like crazy. The glass was almost smashed. You had it lucky. I can't even contact my real-life brother anymore. His friend Icon has already gone gray. Have any of you met other people? Didn't the system say we could meet others? I want to form a team. It's too hard alone, looking for supplies by day and not sleeping well at night. Look at the regional population. There were over 90,000 left yesterday, and now I wake up to find only 80,000 plus. Over 10,000 people gone in one night, and it's only the second day. Killing monsters allows you to decompose meat. I ate a piece of green quality meat, and the scratch on my hand actually healed itself. Requesting medicine? Who has medicine? My leg was bitten by a monster. I can't hold on much longer. Stop dreaming. Medicine is rarer than blueprints. Right now, the only things that can stop bleeding and heal are probably those monster meats. Buying weapons can trade with materials, water, or food. Does this survival game not want us ordinary people to live at all? No weapons, no resources. Even our talent is just ordinary. Woody's gaze was calm as he quickly scanned through the lines of messages, silently noting the key information. Nighttime monster attacks were a widespread phenomenon. A reduction of over 10,000 people in one night, a mortality rate close to 10%, was a shocking figure for the early stages of survival. And the news in the channel about monster meat being able to heal injuries also happened to verify his previous hypothesis. Ingredients like green wolf meat did indeed possess basic healing and recovery effects. Although it couldn't compare to the heaven-defying effect of blue quality, reinforced wolf meat which permanently increased attributes, in the early stage where medicine was extremely scarce, this stuff was an absolute life-saving elixir. The proof was that the scratch on his arm from yesterday had fully recovered today without a trace of injury. Just then, a private message notification popped up. Player Su-Wan has sent you a message. Woody's eyes shifted slightly as he opened the dialogue box. What met his eyes was a trade request with an attachment. It was precisely the automatic hand crossbow he had lent Su-Wan for self-defense last night, along with the unused bolts. Big boss, it was really thanks to you last night. Otherwise, I definitely wouldn't have survived. Su-Wan's words were tinged with a lingering post-traumatic tremble. Woody looked at that trade application, his finger hovering over the light screen for a few seconds. A blue-quality automatic hand crossbow was no longer of any use to him. But for an ordinary survivor like Su-Wan, this blue crossbow was definitely a crucial life-saving trump card at this stage. Woody's mind worked extremely fast, instantly weighing the pros and cons. If she gives it back, there's a chance she won't survive tonight. If she dies, I lose a steady source of blueprints. He wasn't some compassionate saint who would unconditionally lend a hand to strangers, but he was even less of a short-sighted fool who only cared about small, immediate gains. In this world, the value of a high-quality blueprint far exceeded a weapon that wasn't currently needed. Moreover, Su-Wan didn't choose to pocket the weapon and break her word. Based on that alone, her character was worthy of basic trust. Woody replied directly, "No need to return it." The other side was silent for a full half-minute, clearly stunned by this sentence, before finally replying flusteredly, "But this is too valuable. I can't take your things for nothing." "It's not for nothing. Consider this crossbow as my investment in you. You said before that you can steadily get blueprints. I hope those weren't just empty words. In exchange, this weapon is yours to protect yourself and survive. But you must give me a promise. Any high-quality design blueprints you get from now on must be offered to me first. The price can follow the market rate. I won't lowball you, but I want priority. At the same time, you also need to give me one blueprint of equal value." On the other end of the screen, Su-Wan looked at these lines of text, her eyes uncontrollably turning slightly red. She understood that although Woody spoke bluntly about cooperation and investment, to her, this was almost like a second lease on life. "I understand, big boss." Su-Wan took a deep breath, her reply significantly more determined. "I promise you, I will contact you immediately for all blueprints I get in the future." "Good," Woody replied, and then closed the interface. Woody leaned back in his seat, gently closing his eyes and taking a deep breath of the cool, dry air inside the car. Next, it's time to start today's journey. He glanced at the real-time temperature on his wristband. It was just past 6 in the morning, and the temperature outside had already climbed sharply to 32 degrees Celsius. Although it hadn't reached yesterday's peak yet, it was still early. As the sun rose, the temperature would only become more terrifying.